The topic for the today's webinar is tax planning through HUF, family arrangement and will. I, on behalf of JB Nagar Study Circle, welcome today's learned and most versatile speaker, past President CA Sunil Talati. I thank you, past Central Council member CA Sanju Maheshwari ji for coordinating with the speaker. I now request today's coordinator and past convener, core group member of JB Nagar Study Circle, CA Mahavir Jain, to introduce today's speaker.
Thank you, Simaji. Good morning, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce today's well-known faculty, CA Sunil Talati ji. The introduction of Talati ji is runs into several pages, but I will try to give it in as brief as possible so that all members can take the benefit of his knowledge as well as can interact with well in time. As we know, we are all member of ICAI, which is an institute which governs the profession of chartered accountancy, having more than 320,000 members, and also the entire training and examination of more than 8 lakh students in the country, set up by Act of Parliament. Mr. Sunil Talati has been elected as president of this institute for the year 2007-8. He was elected as vice president of the institute for the year 2006-7. It is for the first time in the 70 years of history of ICAI that a CA from Gujarat, Mr. Sunil Talati, has been elected as president. Mr. Sunil Talati is a MCom, LLB and FCA graduated from HL College of Commerce. He has held various posts of office bearers like secretary, treasurer, vice president, Protect Club, junior JCs and junior chambers. He was elected as first Protect governor in India and then was appointed as national chairman of the Council of Protect Governors. Doing practice under name Talati and Talati LLP, having offices at Ahmedabad, Anand, Baroda, Surat, Mumbai, Cochin and Delhi. He had been executive member of Income Tax Bar Association in 1980 and Chartered Accountants Association Ahmedabad and Sports Club of Gujarat, and also in the board of Karnataka Club Limited Ahmedabad since inception. In 1982, he was elected by securing highest votes in the entire western region of WIRC of ICAI, and he was appointed as vice chairman the same year. He was appointed as public representative in the governing body of Ahmedabad Stock Exchange by Government of India, Ministry of Finance in 1985-86. He was elected as president of Chartered Accountants Association Ahmedabad for the year 1988-89 and also selected as member of Executive Committee of Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry Ahmedabad for the year 1988 and 1989. He has written several papers on tax laws and has given talks in various seminars, conferences and meetings all over Gujarat as well as all over country. For almost 20 years, he was a co-author of Ready Reckoner, which is published in Gujarati. He is regularly contributing articles in Financial Express and was regularly writing as a contributor and editor in monthly Gujarati book called Tax Reckoner, Tax Reporter. He was elected as president of all Gujarat Federation of Tax Consultants for the year 2013-14. He was elected as a member of Governing Council, Accounting, Auditing and Bookkeeping Service Industry, governed by SEPC, set up by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, consecutive for third term, that is 2015-17, 2017-19, and again for 2019-21. Friends, recently he has been elected as vice chairman of SEPC for the term September 2019-2021. It is first time in the history of Gujarat that a chartered accountant has been elected from the state of Gujarat as member and chairman of the such reputed institution under Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India. In 2017, he has been appointed by Government of Gujarat as member of the Fee Regulatory Committee, All Medical College in Gujarat. He has also been appointed in the Special Committee of Coal India Limited for considering valuation of coal mines. Recently, he has been appointed as an independent director of Gujarat State Financial Services by Government of Gujarat. Friends, with this brief introduction, I present before you today's well-known and well-experienced speaker, Mr. C.A. Sunil Talati ji. Please welcome him with a loud of big applause. Welcome, Sunil.
Thank you so much for the not so short and not so long introduction. In fact, I think by and large, I know all the members, and by and large, all members know me. So it's sufficient that I'm talking and addressing to my dear members of JP Nagar Study Circle, whom I had privilege to address when I was vice president and thereafter also. In fact, you will be happy to know that when Sanjeev Maheshwari was elected as a Central Council member, I was the first one to wish him, because incidentally, I was in Mumbai when the result came, and we both went to a place where you were not able to get the library, and we could open the library there. So I have very fond memories of Sanjeev Maheshwari. With me, he was my council colleague, and I thank him in absentia for giving me this opportunity to share my some thoughts with all of you. I'm fully aware and conscious that yes, JP Nagar, though it is a study circle and study chapter, it is larger than many branches in MWF in India. And you have been doing really good work, good knowledge sharing, and you have a lot of meetings regularly, both physical as well as on webinar. I'm really happy that yes, you have not yet opted for physical meeting. For that matter, in Gujarat, we have started physical meetings right in Ahmedabad, Rajkot, Baroda, and many places. But now we are in the second phase of Corona, and we have to be very careful. And when I say we have to be very careful, let me start sharing some of my personal thoughts before I go to the topic proper, with regard to how careful and how conscious we have to be when we know that, yes, I am a chartered accountant, one, I'm a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountant, two, and number three, I'm having a certificate of practice, and I have a special status, recognition, and respect in society. And if I'm conscious about that, we have to be very careful about our behavior. Why I'm saying so? Because hundreds of chartered accountants have become unhappy, depressed, dejected for two amendments in this budget. With regard to amendment in section 44AB, that if the books of accounts are maintained and 95% of the receipts are above the total receipts, the tax audit limit from which was for 2 to 5 crore has been increased to 10 crores. So hundreds of chartered accountants are of the feeling that our tax audit will go away, because all those SSAs may not opt for 44AB tax audit report. And second startling amendment is with regard to discontinuation of GST audit. And if we ask ourselves, one of the reasons why this has happened is continuous hammering, continuous flow of abuse, unparliamentary word, जिसको हम हिंदी में बोलेंगे अभद्र भाषाएं यूज की गई हमारे फाइनेंस मिनिस्ट्री के लिए, हमारी मिनिस्ट्री के लिए, तो उसका एक ये रिएक्शन आया है, ऐसा हमको एक्सेप्ट करना पड़ेगा. एक बात समझिए, हमारे बुजुर्ग भी कह गए, हम भी जानते हैं, सत्ता के आगे शार्पन निकम्मा है. You have to be polite. We have a right of freedom. We have a right of expression. Article 19 of the Constitution permit me to express my view in a manner I like. And yes, we must do that. But we can't forget I am a chartered accountant first, and then I'm a normal citizen. I cannot behave like a normal person who can afford to speak anything, like you see the tweet of Kangana Ranaut for that matter, or many others who share their blunt views on the Twitter and Instagram. We as a chartered accountant have to observe certain control, certain restrictions. And above all, we have to respect every person to whom we meet and from whom we get our bread and butter. I'm not saying that, yes, because we were shouting, government has reacted so badly. But the way we were demanding extension and way we were continuously hammering that what FM is doing, FM is this, she should be removed, she is like this. All those tweeters were coming on her table. And she felt that, yes, if you are too busy, if you don't have time, if you are now loaded with the both tax audit work, income tax return work, GST return work, and GST audit, okay, my people will do the audit, you don't do the audit, if you are so busy. So we have to be very clear that if I'm a proprietor, I cannot do everything on my own. If I file my returns of income of my client, I do tax audit, I do GST return, and then I do audit. Yes, certainly I will file short of time. And we can't blame the government for that matter. So time has come that entire our practice, method and methodology of the practice area and sphere of the practice has overnight changed. I'm using the word, has taken a paradigm shift. And we are, majority of us are not prepared for this. We are not ready to accept the challenges, or I may say in humbleness, we have not molded ourselves to the incoming challenges. And let me, as I told you, before I take to some in a lighter moment, that how times have changed and we have not changed. And if we don't change, we will still have larger setback. I am here not to frighten you for the larger setback, but I am here to tell you that yes, if we change and if mold ourselves and we move with the time, come what may, we are going not only to survive, we are going to remain one of the topmost professional in the country, one of the most noble professional in the country. Nobody can touch our earning, our respect, and our regard in the society. But how the times have changed? Just let me share you. I just today in the morning I received this, so I thought let me share with you. तो पहले क्या होता था कि घर की लेडीज, घर की औरतें खाना बनाती थी शादी के टाइम पे, और बाहर से नाचने वाली आती थी और फंक्शन होता था। अब क्या हो गया है, अब हम घर शादी के टाइम पे बाहर खाना खाते हैं और घर वालियां सब नाचती है, घर की औरतें नाचती है। टाइम चेंज हो गया। पहले क्या था, घर के बाहर, महल के बाहर, कोठी के बाहर एक आदमी खड़ा रहता था ताकि कुत्ता अंदर न घुस जाए। अब घर के बाहर कुत्ता रहता है ताकि आदमी अंदर न घुस जाए। तो ये एक चेंज हो रहा है। पहले लोग घर पे खाना खाते थे और घर के बाहर टॉयलेट पे जाते थे। अब लोग बाहर खाना खाते और घर पे आके टॉयलेट करते। तो ये पूरी जो चेंज इन इकोनॉमी है, चेंज इन सोसाइटी है, we have to accept that yes, how change society is changing and we have molded ourselves. पहले अगर आदमी साइकिल पे जाता था, लोग कहते बेचारा मिडिल क्लास का है, लोअर मिडिल क्लास का है, और अब वो गाड़ी में जाता है और जिम में जाके फिर साइकिल चलाता है, तो उसको रिच माना जाता है। तो ये एक जो चेंज आ रही है, वो फिलोसॉफी बदल रही है। वी हैव टू चेंज अवर फिलोसॉफी, दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। और एक बात ध्यान रखें, आदमी जब तक एक्टिव है, जब तक जिंदा है, जब तक वो काम करता है, जब तक चेंज के साथ वो अपना भी माइंडसेट, अपनी वर्किंग मेथोडोलॉजी चेंज करता रहता है, तो उसको कोई तकलीफ नहीं होती। एक बात ध्यान रखिए, आदमी की जब शादी होती है, बारात होती है, तो लोग आगे चलते हैं और जो जमाई बाबू वरराजा होते हैं वो पीछे होते हैं। और जब आदमी की डेथ होती है तो ठाठड़ी जो होती है, डेड बॉडी, वो सबसे आगे होती है, लोग पीछे चलते हैं। मतलब खुशी का माहौल होता है तो लोग आपसे आगे रहेंगे, जब गम का माहौल होगा, खराब टाइम होगा, तो लोग आपसे पीछे चले जाएंगे। तो ये है दुनिया। जब बर्थडे आती है तो लोग मोमबत्ती जलाते हैं और बर्थडे सेलिब्रेट करती है, और अगर आदमी मर जाता है तो आदमी वो मोमबत्ती बुझाने के बदले उनके शव के आगे मोमबत्ती जलाता है। तो यही फर्क हमको रियलाइज करना है कि यस, let us change with the time, let us change our thinking, attitude, approach, and application of our knowledge and whatever professional expertise we have gained over a period of time into this new era. And why I say so, in your JP Nagar study circle, knowing Sanjeev and Sunil Goyal and others for years, there are members who are above 60, there are members who are in the range of 40 to 60, and there are members in the range of 20 to 60, or in their 20s and 40s. So I am dividing the professional into three criteria: 20 to 40, 40 to 60, and 60 and above. 60 and above, like me, are all now considered as senior citizens. Their time to move with regard to arguing the matter, reading the book, reading the CTR and ITR has changed. Everything is online. And those elder are not in a position to adapt themselves with regard to the change in technology. Those who are in 40s and 60s, they have learned the technology. They are already expert or experienced and exposed in this technology, but they are not keeping themselves abreast of the latest development in technology. And therefore, the time has come for those who are in 20s and 40s to see that, yes, be it filing of income tax returns, be it filing of online appeal, be it filing of faceless assessment or faceless appeal, or be it audit, everything tool, technology, software is on technology driven, software driven, computer driven. So for all of us, it's extremely important that yes, we learn the technology. But while learning the technology, yes, let me go to the topic proper. It is equally important to know the law, to know the realities, and in turn advise our clients with regard to the tax planning available. And let us therefore appreciate that government is trying every year since last 7 years, particularly after Honorable Narendra Modi's government, we have seen that they are trying to plug every single loophole. Tax planning has now become bare minimum. And recently, you must have seen the latest judgment for tax planning, where a company had incorporated instead of Dubai into Mauritius, and Mauritius company in turn incorporated another subsidiary in Canaan Island. The High Court said that this is entire abuse of tax planning, and compared to Vodafone, in spite of Supreme Court decision, they have said that no, we will not appreciate this kind of tax planning, and it is abuse. So let us appreciate that yes, so far as income tax is concerned, official legal tax planning is still acceptable, but if you are abusing and circumventing the provisions, it will not be tolerated. With this, let us go and appreciate, yes, the tax planning is tool within the legal way of reducing your tax liabilities. And for us, every chartered accountant, every professional, we have to appreciate that yes, if I am an individual and in the family, I am the only one who is earning the income in individual capacity, my limitations are with regard to deductions available of 1,50,000, depreciation and other expenditure incurred wholly and exclusively for the purpose of business or profession. And except that, there are no other tax planning available. So tax planning is the analysis of one's financial situation. If your client is a professional and a businessman, but he has only one status and he is only individual, you have to find out why there is no HUF status in his family. And कई लोग धीरे धीरे बोलते हैं मेरा तो HUF है ही नहीं. तो ये जो मिसनोमर है वो सबसे पहले आपको दूर करना है कि मेरा HUF है नहीं, वो कभी बोलना नहीं. Husband, wife and one child by itself is a HUF. Person who is Hindu and who is a family. And what is family? Family means plurality of persons. So moment you are two or more, you are a family. So you are a Hindu and you are a family and therefore you are an HUF. उसमें आप वो गलती से भी मत बोलो कि मेरा HUF नहीं है. हाँ, दिक्कत ये है कि वो HUF स्टेटस की इनकम टैक्स की एंटिटी नहीं है, उनका PA नंबर नहीं है, इनकम टैक्स की फाइल नहीं है, जो आप लूज लैंग्वेज में बोलना चाहो. तो हमें वो इनकम टैक्स की फाइल, इनकम टैक्स की एंटिटी और इनकम टैक्स का एसएससी क्रिएट करना है. और वो कैसे करना है? That would be my main attention with regard to that. So you must understand that what is a Hindu undivided family. A Hindu co-pastorate is a much narrower concept than Hindu undivided family. It includes only male members who acquire an interest in the joint family property by birth. Such male members are known as co-partners. तो सबसे पहले तो ये समझ लीजिए, डॉटर के लिए, लेडीज के लिए मैं बाद में आता हूँ. There is a very important amendment which I will be dealing later on. But husband, wife, and if there is a downward, one son, one daughter, two sons, one daughter, you are a family. And a male member is a co-partner in that family. This is the most important thing. So in Hindu family, you have to understand three important aspects. Moment you are a family, the eldest person, the father, is the karta, means the manager, who will manage the entire funds and activities of the HUF. So he is named as karta. Male members are known as co-partner. So everyone has co-partner interest. By birth, he gets an inherited right in the entire joint family. So he is a co-partner. And wife and daughters, earlier, now after I'll come to that, they are called members. And members have also their own right with regard to maintenance, with regard to education, with regard to the marriage. So interest of each co-partner in the joint family property is always fluctuating. 3 मेंबर है तो हर एक का 1/3 शेयर. जैसे ही नया बेटा आया, 4 हो गए तो 1/4 शेयर हो गया. So by increasing the member, the share of each co-partners go less. And with the death of a family member, the interest and right of each member is increasing. So this is most important thing which you have to remember. And what is Hindu law? The latest decision, the earliest decision in this was Champa Kumari Singh, 83 ITR, 83 ITR, page 720. सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ये डिसीजन, जो कलकत्ता हाई कोर्ट का डिसीजन था, उसको चैलेंज होने के बाद सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने दिया कि इवन जैन्स आर हिंदू. So who are Hindu? All persons who are basically following Hinduism are known to be Hindus, and therefore Jain, Sikhs, and even Indian Buddhists, they all are Hindus. Jains, with respect to all those Jain, my friends listening, you are in a very special category. When it comes to minority, you are claiming, yes, Jains are minor. When you have to fill up the form, there are separate columns of Jains and Hindus. At that time, you take Jains. But when it comes to text planning, you can say, no, I am a Hindu, by virtue of this decision of Champadevi. That Jainism is not a caste. Jainism is a followism of Mahavir, and therefore it is a segment of Hindu philosophy, Hindu law, and Jains are Hindu. So be very clear that even if you are a staunch Jain, first you are Hindu, and then you are following Jainism. So Jains are Hindu, Sikhs are Hindu, and even Buddhists are Hindu. Muslims, of course, they cannot be, they are followed by Mohammedan law. Parsis and others, they have Voras, they have the different Sharia laws, so they are not covered by Hindu law. So this is what is most important fact, that yes, you have to be a Hindu first. And then follow the most important decision of the concept of HUF. As I said, it's a family. And the landmark decision, which you all must read, if you want to clear yourself about the concept of HUF, it is Gauli Budana. Gauli Budana is a landmark treatise on HUF. It is 60 ITR, page 293 of Supreme Court. And that says that a joint family may consist of only one male member. There is no need of two male members in the family. You are husband, you are wife, and you are a daughter. You are an HUF. You are husband, you are wife, and you are a son. You are an HUF. And therefore, Gauli Budana says that yes, there is no need. And what was the case? There was a Budappan family. And after they were running a restaurant and a hotel and properties. And after the death of the father, income which was earlier taxed in the hands of father HUF, ITO said that father has died. Now there is only widow, daughter, and only one son. And in Hindu law, you must have two sons, father and a son. And because father has died, now there is only one male member. Therefore, HUF has come to an end. And I will not assess this income as an HUF. I will treat this income as individual. A matter went into litigation. And Supreme Court said that no, that under the Hindu law, there is no need to have a second male member. So be frank, very clear. There is no separate codification of HUF. There is no separate law of HUF. There is no definition of HUF in income tax. It is purely by precedents and history, and follow that a code has been developed with regard to the joint Hindu undivided family property. And because it is joint and not of a particular person, it has to be a separate entity and cannot be treated as an individual person. That is why a separate taxable entity as an HUF. So this is what is very important, and you must keep it in mind. Now, next important decision, another of Supreme Court, is of case of Virappa Chettiar. It is another important decision of 76 ITR 467. And friends, today you are on Sunday, holidays, you don't go to office, you have a lot of time saved available. Use the Google, use this ITR, and please read this decision. You will be able to grasp what the concept of HUF is. And Supreme Court said in this case that even when a joint family is reduced to only female member, it continues to be HUF because there is a potential co-pastory of any widow that he may adopt a son or she may remarry. उसमें क्या हुआ था कि हस्बैंड था, वाइफ थी और दो डॉटर थी, और हस्बैंड की डेथ हो गई. उनका HUF चल रहा था क्योंकि सालों से एंसेस्ट्रल प्रॉपर्टी मेंबर्स के हाथ में आई थी. और जब फादर की डेथ हो गई तो ईओ ने बोला कि अब आपका HUF खत्म. सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बोला नहीं, the widow has a right to adopt a son. She can adopt another male member from another ashram or anywhere, or she can remarry to another husband, and then again the HUF would continue. So give some time, and if she remarries or she adopts a son, the status of HUF would continue. So you appreciate the concept and analysis that has gone in the minds of judges, how they have dissected the philosophy of the Hindu law. And then came another important decision based on this various Supreme Court decision of Guwahati High Court in case of Arvind Jhunjhunwala. That is 223 ITR, page 45. और उसने बोला कि Hindu HUF is constituted moment there is a marriage of an individual. It is a plurality of person, husband and wife. And whatever is received from ancestral property, it will be in the status of HUF. And they rejected the contention that until there is a birth in the family, a birth of a son in the family, then and then only you can have HUF. So mere husband and wife, they said it should be a family. It's an exceptional decision. But this was clarified in the decision of Surjit Lal Chhabra, 101 ITR, page 706. And there Supreme Court said that father's HUF share devolved upon him in share of the firm. So joint family is for food, joint family is for worship, and joint family is for the estate. So food, worship और estate के लिए जो साथ में रहते हैं, वो family बन गई. And therefore, only husband and wife, there cannot be an HUF. You need to have one more member in that family. Unless you have property coming from the ancestor estate, up to 3 categories: father's father, and father's grandfather. And it divorce up to 3 level down below: son's son, and son's grandson. All these people inherit the joint family property by a devolution and not by Hindu Succession Act. So this is what is very important, and you must keep it in mind. So be very clear that a property which is of an individual is individual, and property which has devolved from father or father's father or father's grandfather will partake the character of HUF. And therefore, all property inherited by a male Hindu from his father, father's father, and great-grandfather is an ancestral property. And be very clear, the difference between the property under Hindu Succession Act and property received under HUF, Hindu Undivided Family, devolving of the joint family. Section 15 and Section 16 of Hindu Succession Act says that if a person dies without making a will, it devolves the property as per Table A, where list of relatives and successor is given, and Table B. As per that, to give an illustration, if a husband dies without making a will, 1/3 goes to widow and 2/3 goes to the lineal descendant. And whatever the lineal descendant receives will partake the character of Hindu Undivided Family property, Hindu Undivided Property estate. So that is under the Hitakshara law. Son, grandson, and great-grandsons will have the inherent right to receive the property from the ancestral in the capacity of HUF. So thus, if A inherits whether movable property or an immovable property from his father or father's father or great-grandfather, it will always be considered as an ancestral property, that is HUF property. So these 3 immediate paternal relation and 3 immediate descendant are extremely important. So what are the concepts? Yes, let us recollect. The lineal male descendant of a person up to 3rd generation acquire on birth ownership in the ancestral property of such person. Such descendants can at any time work out their individual right. मेरा 4 लोग हैं तो मेरा 1/4 right. He can't say कि ये 400 बार का प्लॉट है, मैं 1/4 ओनर हूं तो मुझे ये 100 बार चाहिए. By meets and bounds, a co-partner does not have a specific right, but he has undivided right based on the total number of ancestors. So that should be very clear, kept in mind. Partition, on partition, each member gets what is his right. अगर फादर पार्टीशन करता है और 4 लोग हैं तो वो एक को पार्टनर को राइट है कि वो अपना 1/4 शेयर मांगे और उसको मिलना चाहिए. वो जाने देर बोलता नहीं मुझे 1/4 नहीं चाहिए, 1/5 I am happy. It's a different situation. But as per Hindu law right, he can claim undivided 1/4 right over any such property if there are 4 members. So result of co-ownership of the possession and enjoyment is always common and not specific. मैंने जैसे बताया देयर इज नो एलिनेशन ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी, कोई एलिनेशन भी प्रॉपर्टी पॉसिबल नहीं है अनलेस इट इज नेसेसरी विदाउट द कंकरेंस ऑफ को पार्टनर। अगर फादर बोलता है कि नहीं मेरी ज्वाइंट प्रॉपर्टी है, मैं ये मेरी उसके वाइफ की सौतन को देता हूँ, मेरी गर्लफ्रेंड को देता हूँ, कहीं बाहर चैरिटी कर देता हूँ, he cannot do that. He has to have the consent of all the co-pastor, except he does in the normal course, routine charity कर दिया, routine खर्चा कर दिया, वो सब कर सकता है। पर पूरी की प्रॉपर्टी अपने फैमिली के सिवा किसी और को देकर वो मुक्त नहीं हो सकता है। Everybody has a common interest in that, and the interest of a deceased member lapses on his death, and it goes to the survivor. So this is what is to be kept in mind while taking concept of the HUF. ये बात होगी. Now the question comes, there are so many members, so many chartered accountants who would say मेरे पास क्लाइंट है, उसके पास कोई डिटेल नहीं है कि ये प्रॉपर्टी कहाँ से आई, उसके पास कोई प्रूफ नहीं है कि ये एंसेस्ट्रल प्रॉपर्टी थी, ये विल से आई या विदाउट विल से आई, विल की कॉपी नहीं मिल रही है, और जो भी आया फादर के हाथ में चला गया और फादर के इंडिविजुअल राइट में कर दिया। आज की तारीख में आपको हिंदू है, आपको फैमिली है, बट यू डोंट हैव एनी सेपरेट टैक्सेबल एंटिटी ऑफ HUF। तो पहले क्या था, हस्बैंड है, वाइफ है और डॉटर है, या सिर्फ जैसे बताया गौली बुदाना के केस में सिर्फ हस्बैंड एंड वाइफ है, बट ऊपर से आया है फादर और ग्रैंड फंड से, तो इवन टू विल बी हैविंग दैट प्रॉपर्टी एज ए को पार्टनर। और गौली बुदाना में बताया कि देयर इज नो नीड ऑफ सेकंड मेल, सो हस्बैंड वाइफ एंड डॉटर भी है, वो सन नहीं है, फिर भी इट वाज कंसीडर्ड टू बी एन HUF प्रॉपर्टी। सो दैट वाज पॉसिबल ओनली एंड ओनली इफ, बी वेरी क्लियर, इट कम्स फ्रॉम अपस्टेयर्स, ऊपर से आ रहा है और फादर्स का ग्रेट ग्रैंडफादर तक का है, वो HUF बन गया है, और उसके पास आपका एविडेंस है, you can claim that this is not my individual, this is the HUF property, and you can have that separate status. Let us talk of all those SSCs, all those of your clients जिनके पास ये कोई एविडेंस नहीं है, कोई मटेरियल नहीं है, और आज की तारीख में उनके पास हस्बैंड है, वाइफ है और सन है, या तो हस्बैंड है, वाइफ है और सिर्फ एक डॉटर है, या सिर्फ दो डॉटर है, या सन और डॉटर दोनों। अब ये हुआ कि पहले बहुत क्लियर था कि इफ यू आर गेटिंग फ्रॉम अपस्टेयर्स यू डिड नॉट हैव अ सन, बट इफ यू आर नॉट हैविंग एंसेस्ट्रल प्रॉपर्टी यू आर हस्बैंड वाइफ एंड सन, पर ऊपर से कहीं नहीं है, तो साइड से अगर आता है देन यू हैव टू हैव वन मोर को पार्टनर एज पर सुरजीत लाल छाबड़ा। सो ऊपर से नहीं आ रहा है, देन वी हैव अ टैक्स प्लानिंग अवेलेबल, बाहर से आवे, साइड से आवे। साइड से कैसे आएगा, हस्बैंड वाइफ एंड सन, बाहर से किसी ने गिफ्ट की कि भाई आप तीन लोग हो, आप हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली हो, बट आपके पास पैसे नहीं है, आई हैव अ लव एंड अफेक्शन टुवर्ड्स यू, इसलिए मैं ये गिफ्ट करता हूँ। और पहले गिफ्ट टैक्स था, गिफ्ट टैक्स भर के उसने 1 लाख रुपए गिफ्ट कर दी, एग्जामिशन 30% निकाल के 70,000 पे 20% गिफ्ट टैक्स भर दिया, और HUF के पास वो बुरी बन गई। तो ये आज की तारीख में भी पॉसिबल है, इफ यू हैव हस्बैंड वाइफ एंड सन, outsider can certainly give you the gift and you will get the status of HUF as corpus bun gaya. Problem is with regard to the girl. You have husband, wife and one daughter, or husband, wife and two daughters and no son. Before the amendment, the law was very clear that you don't have anything from ancestor, ऊपर से कुछ मिला नहीं है। अब साइड से अगर आप सिर्फ husband, wife and daughter हो, meaning thereby there is no one else co-partner, wife member है, daughter member है, daughter is not a co-partner, therefore बाहर से भी आएगी गिफ्ट, तो हस्बैंड वाइफ एंड डॉटर को मिली, तो इट वुड बी एन AOP एंड नॉट एन HUF, बिकॉज हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली से उनके पास कुछ नहीं है और बाहर से आता है, तो वो HUF नहीं बना सकते। बट देन केम द अमेंडमेंट इन हिंदू सक्सेशन एक्ट, दैट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। सेक्शन 6 of Hindu Succession Act was amended on 9th September 2005। आज 15 साल हो गए और कई लोगों को ये ख्याल नहीं। By this amendment, it is the biggest amendment in the history of India that a daughter has been recognized as equivalent to a son. ये कांग्रेस के गवर्नमेंट के टाइम पे इन्होंने अमेंडमेंट किया कि हिंदुस्तान में अभी जैसे बेटी बचाओ का आंदोलन चल रहा था, उस टाइम था कि स्त्री को इक्वल हक मिलना चाहिए, लड़की को लड़के जितना ही हक मिलना चाहिए, लेडीज को गवर्नमेंट में और दूसरी जगह भी उतना ही इम्पोर्टेंस और हक मिलना चाहिए जितना मेल को मिलता है. And therefore, Section 6 of Hindu Succession Act was amended on 9th September 2005, by which now a daughter born to a husband and wife is not a member but is a co-partner. ये ध्यान में रखिए. तो अब daughter भी co-partner है और son भी co-partner. So any family which is now having husband, wife and daughter, or husband, wife and son, or husband, wife and son and daughter both, all three, such kind of families can have the funds, if not from upper, from the side, that is by way of gift, by way of will. और इसलिए ये बहुत जरूरी है. अब लड़की को भी लड़के जितना ही स्टेटस दिया गया है पूरे वर्ल्ड में. फ्रेंड, विद रिस्पेक्ट टू ऑल लेडीज एंड गर्ल्स लिसनिंग दिस, आप एक खुशनसीब और लकी है पूरे वर्ल्ड में जिनको दूध और दही दोनों में एक साथ पाव रखने की इजाजत मिली है. आप अपने फादर के HUF में को-पार्टनर है और शादी के बाद आपके हस्बैंड के HUF में मेंबर है. मीनिंग thereby you are a co-partner in your father's HUF, a daughter, and she can claim equal right like a son. She can claim partition, she can claim equivalent right. If there are 4 members, she can claim 1/4 insofar as her father's HUF is concerned. And in the HUF of her husband, after marriage, she, her husband and her daughter or her son, there is another HUF of her husband where she is a member. What are the difference? As I told you, as a member, a wife, a widow, or a daughter has a right to be maintained from the HUF funds. If a daughter is there, she has a right to be maintained and she has a right to be educated. उसका बड़ा भाई या उसका फादर की जवाबदारी बनती है कि HUF के फंड से लड़की को पूरा पढ़ाए, उसको पूरा मेंटेन करे एंड उसकी शादी करने की. And the entire expenditure of marriage has to be borne from the HUF funds. अगर उसके पास इंडिविजुअल प्रॉपर्टी नहीं है तो ऐसा नहीं बोल सकता है कि मैं तेरी शादी नहीं करूंगा. You can go to the court and enforce that the expenditure of maintenance, education and marriage must be borne from the income and funds of the HUF. That's the right available with regard to the lady member. And as a member of the husband wife and as a co-partner, as I told you, जो बेटे का राइट है उतना ही राइट अभी लड़की को मिल गया है. एक सोशल स्टेटस के हिसाब से हम बाद में बात करेंगे कि क्या ध्यान रखना चाहिए, बट आज समझ लीजिए कि यस, नाउ यू हैव अ क्लाइंट who has husband, wife and daughter. You have a client who has husband, wife and son, or you have a client who has husband, wife and son, daughter both. They don't have individual file. Start creation of the funds in the HUF. So there is already an HUF, but you have to generate the fund. So now let us go to stage 2. HUF की फाइल कैसे बनाए, HUF का स्टेटस कैसे बनाए, HUF में इनकम कैसे लाए. That's the most important. मुंबई वालों को जो फाइनेंशियल कैपिटल है वर्ल्ड की, इंडिया की, उसको मुझे ये सिखाना तो जरूरी नहीं है कि इनकम कहाँ से लाए, आप लोग मास्टर हो उसमें, बट फिर भी कैसे इनकम लाइए प्लान करना बहुत जरूरी है. HUF है, फंड्स नहीं है, एक डॉक्यूमेंट बनाए गिफ्ट का. मिस्टर ए, मिसेस ए, डॉटर डी एंड सन एस, 4 of them are Hindu ordered family and his very close friend is giving a gift of 50,000 rupees to the HUF, and the Karta, the father, is receiving the same gift in capacity of Karta of HUF. So a declaration on a 50 or 100 rupees stamp paper by donor declaring that I am giving this gift of 50,000 rupees to the HUF of Mr. A, and below that Mr. A will confirm that yes, I am accepting this gift in capacity as Karta of my HUF, consisting of my wife and my daughter, or my wife and my son, or my wife and son and daughter both. The moment this is accepted and deposited in the bank account, you are having a fund of 50,000 in the bank account. अब कई मेंबर्स पूछेंगे कि हम बैंक वाले को पूछते हैं कि भाई HUF का डॉक्यूमेंट लाओ. HUF कोई डॉक्यूमेंट होता नहीं है, ये कोई पार्टनरशिप भी नहीं है, कंपनी नहीं है, या लीगल फॉर्मेशन नहीं है, HUF का सेपरेट एक्ट नहीं है, तो डॉक्यूमेंट आप कहाँ से लाएंगे. तो ये जो डिक्लेरेशन ऑफ HUF है इज अ डॉक्यूमेंट विच यू कैन प्रेजेंट इन। अगर ऑलरेडी फंड है then it's self declaration affidavit that I Sunil Talati hereby declare and confirm that I, my wife Paru, and my son Aniket and my son Atit, the four are the members of my family. We have this fund which belongs to HUF, or we have received this fund which belongs to HUF, and my HUF consists of following persons. That is a sufficient declaration and affidavit. That document a bank has to open the account. No bank can say no. I understand some bank like State Bank of India and Bank of India, etc., are too rigid to open the bank account on HUF. But then there are other private banks. And as you have now heard, most of the nationalized banks are also going to be privatized, and they will be willingly accepting the opening of the bank. तो 50,000 रुपये HUF के पास आ गए. 50,000 के क्या बनता है? कुछ नहीं बनता है. तो भैया ये फरवरी और मार्च महीना है. 50,000 मार्च में गिफ्ट ले लो, 50,000 अप्रैल में गिफ्ट ले लो. 1 लाख रुपया हो गया आपके HUF में. 1 लाख से काम चलाओ. 1 लाख नहीं है, चलो ज्यादा ही लेनी है इनकम, भले सेक्शन 56 अप्लाई हो जाए. 3 लाख की गिफ्ट ले लो, 50,000 एग्जम्पशन है. 2.5 लाख तक कोई इनकम टैक्स है नहीं. 3 लाख की गिफ्ट ले लो मार्च में, 3 लाख की गिफ्ट ले लो अप्रैल में. 6 लाख रुपया हो गया आपके पास. 6 लाख से भी आप HUF की फाइल बन गई, HUF का बैंक अकाउंट खुल गया, एंड now you can start generating and earning income in the capacity, in the status of HUF. So this is what is most important, that you must appreciate and in turn understand. Now comes the question, what kind of income can be earned, received, generated, and in turn offered as taxable income in the hands of HUF status? Very important. The fundamental point of HUF income you have to remember, friend, दीवार पे लिख दो, दिमाग में प्रिंट कर दो. HUF का फंड्स यूज होता है, वो ही इनकम, वहां से ही आई हुई इनकम HUF की गिनी जाएगी. अगर पर्सनल एफर्ट्स, पर्सनल स्किल, पर्सनल लेबर, पर्सनल इंटेलिजेंस यूज हुआ, वो इनकम कभी भी HUF की नहीं गिनी जाएगी, और वो इंडिविजुअल की इनकम ही होगी. Therefore, a chartered accountant cannot practice as an HUF as a karta. A doctor cannot practice as an HUF. A lawyer cannot. Now, I know some of those who are reading Gujarati newspaper, after the amendment in the budget in section 44 ADA, उन्होंने वो कट पेस्ट कर दिया, amendment तो ला दिया, तो with regard to the business, same word use कर दिया in profession also. That if you are having an income in the case of individual or HUF in profession, then the provision of section 44 ADA will apply accordingly. तो अखबार में एक CA ने आर्टिकल भी छाप दिया कि अब CA डॉक्टर HUF की कैपेसिटी में भी इनकम ला सकते हैं. ये बिल्कुल गलत है, 100% incorrect. Don't be swayed away by such incorrect articles and incorrect views. Be 100% clear. If a skill, knowledge, personal efforts, personal labor is used, it is invariably an individual income and never an HUF income. So 6 लाख रुपए के आपका बैंक अकाउंट में जमा हो गया, 1 लाख जमा हो गया. नेक्स्ट ईयर इमीडिएटली आप बोलो किसी को भी, मुझे ने कमीशन का काम किया, कमीशन एजेंट कर दे, मेरे को 5 लाख की इनकम दे दो. कमीशन इनकम कैन नेवर बी एन HUF इनकम, बिकॉज कमीशन इज अ पर्सनल लेबर, पर्सनल इंटेलिजेंस, पर्सनल कॉन्टेक्स्ट, पर्सनल अप्रोच, और उससे पागे इनकम इंडिविजुअली गिनी जाएगी. Therefore, you cannot earn commission income. You cannot earn salary in HUF. You cannot earn labor. You cannot earn anything. So what you can have from 6 lakhs? Interest income. Invest in shares. You can have dividend income. Invest in shares and buy and then sell it. You can have short-term and long-term capital gain. You can have that income. 6 लाख रुपया लेके आप 10 लाख बोरो करके 16 लाख रुपया में कोई छोटी सी जगह ले लो, उसमें से किराया ले लो. You can have rent income from that. You can have buy equipment, buy motor car, buy machine, give it on rent, and you can have income from rent from that. Be very clear. Absolutely, HUF fund is to be used. With regard to your businessmen clients, if you have started HUF now, after this in April, make them a partner in partnership firm. और partnership firm में invariably लिखना है Mr. XYZ in capacity as कर्ता of his HUF is joining as a partner. और जब नीचे सही करे वहां भी सिक्का मारना for XYZ HUF करता और फिर वो साइन करेगा. So he is joining in the partnership firm as a HUF. और उस टाइम कैपिटल कंट्रीब्यूशन में लिखना ही पड़ेगा और लिखना जरूरी है इन पार्टनरशिप डेट दैट HUF इज इंक्लूडिंग सो मच एज कैपिटल. दूसरे पार्टनर 10-10 लाख लाए, 25-25 लाख लाए, HUF सिर्फ 6 लाख लाए. सब 4 पार्टनर है, हर एक को 25% दो, HUF को भी 25% दो, नो प्रॉब्लम. What capital is to be brought by each partner is purely partner's individual decision. So HUF can bring lesser amount of capital and can have larger share of profit. No problem, because profit will be attributable to HUF after the firm tax is paid. That's you have to remember. Then comes the question of remuneration. HUF partner तो बन गया, करता A है, अब सबको रेम्यूनरेशन दे रहे हो, HUF को भी हम रेम्यूनरेशन देंगे. सो इन पार्टनरशिप आप लिख दिया स्टैंडर्ड, आपने भी गट पेस वाला पार्टनरशिप बना दिया, और पार्टनर बी जो HUF की कैपेसिटी है उसको भी आपने रेम्यूनरेशन लिख दिया एज पर सेक्शन 40B 50,000 रुपया पर मंथ, 6 लाख, और एज पर P&L अकाउंट. वो रेम्यूनरेशन अगर HUF पार्टनर में गया तो रेम्यूनरेशन विल बी टैक्स इन दी कर्ताज इंडिविजुअल अकाउंट एंड नॉट HUF. बी वेरी क्लियर, बिकॉज रेम्यूनरेशन इज ऑलवेज अवेलेबल टू वर्किंग पार्टनर एंड वर्किंग पार्टनर कैनॉट बी ए कर्ता ऑफ HUF. जब मैंने बताया इफ देयर आर लेबर, इंटेलिजेंस, हार्डवर्क और यूज ऑफ स्किल, देन इट इज इंडिविजुअल. कभी भी HUF को रेम्यूनरेशन मत दीजिए, और अगर देना चाहते हो तो इंडिविजुअल में ही जाएगा, वो हिसाब से आप प्लान कीजिए. बट शेयर ऑफ प्रॉफिट विल सर्टेनली गो टू दी HUF. यू कैन हैव लार्जर इनकम of share of from to HUF, give remuneration to other partners who are individual, and after paying tax, let HUF receive substantial income from the partnership firm in the firm. It can be in LLP also. Now it can do the proprietary business. 6 लाख रुपया आ गया, नेक्स्ट और 6 लाख की गिफ्ट मिल गई, then you can have 12 lakhs and earn business. Open the bank account, have CC facilities, have term loan. You can do manufacturing proprietor, you can do trading proprietor, you can do in any business. But reason is उसमें भी मेहनत लगती है, उसमें भी इंडिविजुअल स्किल लगती है. But there you have an argument that no, मेहनत कम है, मेरा पैसा लगा हुआ है, मेरी मुड़ी लगी हुई है, और नुकसान भी हुआ तो HUF के फंड में जाएगा, इनकम आएगी वो भी HUF के फंड में जाएगी, सब को पार्टनर और मेंबर को बेनिफिट मिलेगा, एंड देयरफॉर इट विल बी एन HUF इनकम. सो कमीशन मत लीजिए, रेम्यूनरेशन मत लीजिए, प्रोप्राइटरी बिजनेस करो, कैपिटल गेन करो, डिविडेंड इनकम करो, इंटरेस्ट करो, रेंट इनकम करो, एंड यू कैन कंटिन्यू टू हैव HUF. दैट्स पॉइंट 1. प्रोफेशनल्स को कैसे करें, दैट्स द सेकंड बिगेस्ट क्वेश्चन. हाउ कैन अ चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट हु इज रिच इन प्रैक्टिस, a doctor who is rich in practice, engineer, architect, lawyer who are rich in practice, उसकी HUF की फाइल में इनकम कैसे लाएं? That's the second most important point. उसमें ये जरूरी है अपनी अकल, अपनी इंटेलिजेंस और अपना प्लानिंग सजेस्ट करना. डॉक्टर को अगर गाड़ी चाहिए, let HUF buy the car. डॉक्टर को एक्सरे मशीन चाहिए, let HUF buy the एक्सरे मशीन. डॉक्टर को स्कैनिंग मशीन चाहिए, चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट को कंप्यूटर्स चाहिए, engineer को other equipments and apparatus चाहिए, please buy those in HUF capacity and give it at rent to individual, where ROI can be up to 18%. Section 48(2) को ध्यान में रखना है कि you don't pay excessive rent or excessive reward, but keeping that in mind, you can give the rent of the premises, of the machines, of the accessories and equipments, and HUF can generate the income. Even if a lady is there, she is chartered accountant, professional, lawyer, doctor, everything, same way, this can be planned and HUF income can be generated. This is what is most important and you must keep in mind. So by way of firm, by way of joining partner in partnership firm or LLP, or by proprietor, and different heads of income, trading business and other things, and the different heads of income other than salary, and as I said in business commission, you can generate the income at the end of HUF. Next question is, gift कहाँ से लाए? Karta himself in individual capacity should not pay. If individual property is transferred to the common hodgepodge of the HUF, the word used in section, then section 60, 64 will be applicable and clubbing हो जाएगा. So Karta should not do the gift. member of the HUF, you know in section 56(2) subclause 10, there is an exemption that when HUF receives the gift from the member of the HUF, then it is exempt. So certainly you can have the gift from the other member. Now, important question is an individual can give the gift to HUF, but can HUF give the gift to outsiders and relatives? HUF के पास already ज़्यादा fund है. Rajkot bench has very clearly said that no, HUF can't have relative. HUF is a group of persons. There are more than two, as I said, plurality of persons. So the group cannot have relative, only an individual can have relative. So father, son, relative, brother, all those exemptions which are here in section 56(2) relative की definition में वो HUF को लागू नहीं पड़ती है. So HUF can't give gift. Bangalore Tribunal has given other view. Matter is under litigation. But my view also personally is that no, HUF can't have relative, and therefore don't give gift from HUF. Let HUF receive the gift. That's the most important. What are the tax benefits? Tax benefits, I told you, are absolutely as equivalent to individuals. Tax slabs are same. No tax up to 2,50,000. All deductions up to 1,50,000 can be paid. पहले तो पीपीएफ का अकाउंट भी खोला जाता था, अभी पीपीएफ ने बंद कर दिया HUF का खोलना. You can pay LIC premium of any of the member of the HUF by taking the LIC. 1.5 लाख रुपया ATC में जो भी बात मिलता है उसको इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं, पूरा वो बेनिफिट मिलेगा स्लैब का. बाकी सब जो डिडक्शंस मिलते हैं वो भी HUF में मिलेंगे. So you can have that much of income and still be below taxable and can have a generation of the income of the HUF. So this is most important. Always keep in mind, as I told you, section 40B, वो आपको ध्यान में रखना है. डॉटर का कंसेप्ट क्लियर हो गया, को पास्टर का कंसेप्ट क्लियर हो गया, मेंबर का कंसेप्ट क्लियर हो गया. एंड नाउ कैसे इनकम करनी है, कैसे HUF की फाइल बना के टैक्सेबल एंटिटी बनानी है, वो कंसेप्ट आई होप आई हैव क्लैरिफाइड. सो दिस इज व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट सो फार एज HUF is. नाउ कम्स द क्वेश्चन ऑफ पार्टीशन. HUF बन गया, इनकम जनरेट होती गई. अब एक बेटा बोलता है इसकी शादी हो गई, बहू से और ससुर से नहीं बनती है, मुझे अलग होना है. बेटा बोलता है पार्टीशन को, मेरे को आपके साथ नहीं रहना. He can't say, as I told you, specific कि मुझे यही चीज चाहिए. He has no specific right, but he has a co-pastory interest. तो 1/4 है, the father has to do the partition. और बोलता है ठीक है भैया, 4 करोड़ रुपया है HUF में, 4 करोड़ की प्रॉपर्टी है, तेरे को अलग होना है, मैं HUF का पार्टीशन करता हूँ, 1 करोड़ तू लेके चला जा. Prior to 89, a partial partition was possible. कि हम 4 लोग हैं, husband, wife, son 1 and son 2. son 1 की शादी हुई, उसको अलग होना है, तो ठीक है भैया, तू 4 करोड़ में से 1 करोड़ लेके चला जा, बाकी के 3 जॉइंट में रहेंगे. So there is a partial partition, and out of 4 crore, 1 crore is partition, is given to elder son, and he is parted. He continues to be the member, but the right in the property is now extinguished. He is partitioned, he goes out from the family, and balance will be available with the HUF. But that allowability of partial partition under section 189 was amended. Reason क्या था? As you all know, Ahmedabad is known for Mecca of tax planning. सबसे ज्यादा ट्रस्ट बने अहमदाबाद में, सबसे ज्यादा AOP बने अहमदाबाद में, तो उसी तरह सबसे ज्यादा HUF भी बनने लगे अहमदाबाद में. होता क्या था कि 5 आदमी का फैमिली है, हस्बैंड, वाइफ, 2 सन्स एंड डॉटर. अब अहमदाबाद CA का डिमांड देखो, बोलता है बेटे को पार्टीशन करना है और साथ में भी रहना है. 4 करोड़ की प्रॉपर्टी है, ठीक है, हम 25 लाख का पार्टीशन करते हैं, और ये 25 लाख हम देते हैं हस्बैंड, वाइफ और सन, ये 3 को, बाकी सब ज्वाइंट. तो हस्बैंड, वाइफ एंड सन 1, ये 3 लोगों को साथ में हम एक 25 लाख दे देते हैं, तो वो हो गया HUF नंबर 1. फिर बोलेंगे नहीं सन 2 कैसे अलग रहेगा, तो हस्बैंड, वाइफ एंड सन 2, 3 को साथ में एक और 25 लाख देते हैं, वो हो गया HUF नंबर 2. फिर बोलेंगे नहीं हस्बैंड, वाइफ, सन 1, सन 2, ये 4 का एक ग्रुप बनाते हैं, उसका HUF कर देते हैं HUF 3. फिर बोलते हैं हस्बैंड, वाइफ, सन 1 एंड डॉटर का एक ग्रुप बनाते हैं HUF 4. हस्बैंड, वाइफ, सन 2 एंड डॉटर का एक और ग्रुप बनाते हैं HUF 5. ऐसे करके एक HUF में से 5, 6, 7, 8, 25, 25, 30 मल्टीपल HUF होने लगे. दिस वाज नोन एज मल्टीपल. And because section permitted the partition, partial partition, AO assessing officer has no option but to recognize. And so एक family से 6, 6, 12, 12, 15, 15 HUF बनने लगे. So government became alert and they said, now from 1489 we will not recognize any partial partition. Partial partition आप करना चाहते हो अपने हिसाब से करो. Income tax के लिए we will ignore that partition and continue to assess the income in the hands of joint HUF. So now partial partition cannot be done. If a member wants to go, he can go to the court. Under civil law, he can claim partial partition. But for income tax purpose, it will be continue to be assessed in the hands of the larger HUF. So that is how there is a larger HUF, there is a smaller HUF. Father HUF है, उसमें जो member है वो larger HUF का हो गया. उसमें जो लड़का है, उसका शादी हो गई, उसका बेटा हुआ, तो वो बेटे का HUF हो गया, तो वो smaller HUF हो गया. वो smaller HUF का कर्ता बन गया और बड़े HUF में वो co-partner बन गया. तो दोनों में वो HUF है. उसके अभी जो अगर माइंड में डाउट है तो आप क्लियर कर लीजिए. तो दोनों में इसको राइट नहीं है. So partial partition is now prohibited. So now only partition possible is total partition. अगर HUF आपके पास है, किसी प्लान का बड़ा है और फैमिली में डिस्प्यूट है, साथ में रहना नहीं चाहते हैं और ज्यादा बच्चे हैं या ज्यादा बेटियां हैं, दामाद को देना है नहीं देना है, वो भी अगर सोशल एक चैलेंज है, then there are two ways possible. One, you do the total partition. The total partition में there is a Supreme Court decision in case of Taramati Vrsa that it is father's right to do equal or unequal partition, एक कर्ता's right. And therefore 4 करोड़ है तो बोलेगा मैं बेटी को सिर्फ 25 लाख देता हूँ, बेटी की रजामंदी चाहिए, उसकी साइन आ गई, और बाकी 3 करोड़ 75 लाख हम 4 लोग बांट देते हैं, हस्बैंड वाइफ एंड 2 बच्चे या एक बेटा. दिस कैन बी पॉसिबल. टोटल पार्टीशन करना पड़ेगा, सब बंद हो जाएंगे. अगर बेटा शादीशुदा है और उसका HUF नहीं हुआ था तो ये पार्टीशन जो हुआ फादर के HUF से, उसमें से बेटे का HUF बन जाएगा. तो एक और फाइल बंद हुई और एक नई फाइल खुल गई, तो कोई नुकसान नहीं है. मदर को जो मिलेगा वो उसका सिटीजन हो गया, फादर को जो मिलेगा वो उसका इंडिविजुअल हो गया, और बेटे को जो मिलेगा बिकॉज इट इज एंसेस्ट्रल कमिंग फ्रॉम फादर्स फादर और फादर, इट विल पार्टेक द कैरेक्टर ऑफ हिज HUF. तो उसमें वो हो सकता है. टोटल पार्टीशन आज की तारीख में भी पॉसिबल है. पार्टीशन का डीड बनना चाहिए, उसमें सब मेंशन करना चाहिए कि HUF में क्या क्या है, और उसमें से हम इतना इसको दे रहे हैं, इतना इसको दे रहे हैं, इतना इसको. उसमें स्टैम्प ड्यूटी लगती है, उसमें सबसे ज्यादा जिसको मिलता है वो एग्जाम चला जाता है, और बाकी जो कम रहने वाले जिसको मिलता है उस पर वो स्टैम्प ड्यूटी गिनी जाती है. ये भी सॉलिसिटर के माइंड की तरह CA को भी ध्यान में रखना चाहिए. हाउ टू प्लान सो दैट स्टैम्प ड्यूटी इज ऑल्सो मिनिमम इफ देयर इज इन्वॉल्वमेंट ऑफ इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी. इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी नहीं है तो 100 रुपीज पे डिक्लेरेशन कर दो कि कल ओरल पार्टीशन हुआ था और आज हम रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हैं, तो पूरा स्टैम्प ड्यूटी बनने की मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी पे जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. एंड यू कैन हैव अ डिक्लेरेशन ऑफ टोटल पार्टीशन एंड mention what is allocated or distributed on total partition means. As I told you, partial partition either for tax planning or even for social reason is not permissible. And then last, how to take care of the daughter. जमाई बाबू अच्छे मिले आपका नसीब, जमाई बाबू खुश मिजाज है आपका नसीब, और जमाई बाबू टेढ़े निकले. हर रोज अखबार में हम पढ़ते हैं, फ्रॉम दावरी से लेके नंबर ऑफ इश्यूज. फिर जमा बाबू से गए तेरे बाप के पास इतनी प्रॉपर्टी है, बेटा क्यों ले जाएगा, तू भी क्लेम कर. बेटी को नहीं करना है तो भी उसका हस्बैंड के हिसाब से बेटी क्लेम करना चली जाती है. तो इन सच अ सिचुएशन यू कैन ऑलवेज से that it is not a partial partition, but she would waive her right to continue to be a co-partner, and she releases her right in the joint family property of the HUF. बेटी से वो लिखवा दीजिए डीड बना के, she relinquishes, forgoes and release all her right, title, or interest in the joint family of the property. She is happy with her husband. She does not want to claim. She or her legal heir or husband shall never claim any right, title, or interest in the HUF of her father. And by that mode, you can certainly take care of an incompetent, undesirable, or not required, or whatever word you want to say, those kind of things to your daughter. But nowadays, as I told you, most of the father, Sanjeev ji and my other friends listening would agree that yes, we are giving equal treatment to daughter. तो बेटे को भी दिया तो बेटी को भी दो, क्या फर्क पड़ता है, बेटी की शादी होगी. बेटे की शादी हुई तो उसकी वाइफ को मिलता है, तो बेटी की शादी होगी इसका हस्बैंड को मिलना चाहिए। जो वो कंसेप्ट रखो तो अच्छी बात है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। अदरवाइज if you want to give less to the lady member, to your daughter, then spend maximum out of HUF. घर में शादी है बेटे की, सब HUF में से खर्चा करो। बीमारी आ गई HUF के फंड से खर्चा करो। फॉरेन घूमने गए HUF में फंड खर्चा करो, और HUF को लुक्खा बना दो। जिसको बोलते हैं ज्यादा पैसे रहे नहीं तो क्लेम करने का वो मूड भी चला जाएगा। So these are all personal things which you will be able to address. But this is how the whole concept of HUF is there. I think I have dealt with all the aspects of HUF. What is Hindu unwed family? Who are the co-partners? Who are the members? Who can claim partition? What is partition? How the funds can be generated and received in the hands of HUF, and how the income can be generated. So don't be swayed away by any such incorrect advice कि हाँ भैया ये हम HUF में कमीशन की भी इनकम ले सकते हैं, सैलरी की भी इनकम ले सकते हैं. And yes, most important, इनकरेक्ट इलीगल अनफेयर मीन से मत लीजिए. जिन्होंने भी ये लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन सेक्शन 1038 के हजारों केस बने हुए हैं जो अब सब विवाद से विश्वास में जा रहे हैं, सब में एडिशन हुआ है. CIT ने कंफर्म किया है, बॉम्बे की ट्राइब्यूनल ने और दिल्ली की ट्राइब्यूनल ने थोड़े थोड़े केस में रिलीफ दे दी है, वो लोग बच गए. पर जिनका अभी डिसीजन नहीं आया है, मोटा मोटी सब जा रहे हैं विवाद से विश्वास में. अभी भी 10 दिन बाकी है, 8 दिन बाकी है, तो कई लोग जाएंगे. बट recently, last fortnight only, Delhi Tribunal has given a very nice decision. Delhi High Court. ये सब में क्या हुआ? My tribunal was or CIT appeal were not allowing the claim of 1038 capital gain exempt. क्योंकि आपने 2 रुपए का शेयर खरीद किया और ऐसा क्यों हुआ कि 12 महीने में 14 महीने में उसका 200 रुपया हो गया. 10 रुपए का शेयर परचेज किया, 900 रुपए की कीमत हो गई. This is not possible. So this is humanly impossible. So they said human probabilities does not accept this. This is ultimately all make believe, and therefore we don't agree with this. And your long-term capital gain is bogus. या जिसने दिया था उसने स्टेटमेंट, सतीश शाह और कई लोग हैं जो आपको जानते हैं, उन्होंने बोल दिया कि हाँ भाई मुझे तो 1 लाख रुपया 1 करोड़ रुपया दिया, मैंने 5% काट के 95 लाख का उनको कैपिटल गेन दे दिया और कंप्यूटर में सब डेटा मिल गया. Delhi High Court said that there is nothing like a human probabilities in income tax. When you want to tax an income, you must see what are the papers and documents. If all documents and papers are perfect, you cannot go beyond the papers and documents and say this is humanly impossible and therefore we don't believe. And they have accepted the genuine claim of 1038 in the hands of the HUF as allowed by the tribunal. But I doubt ये डिसीजन दिल्ली हाईकोर्ट का कितना किस पे काम में आएगा. आइदर HUF ने इनकम लिया है या इंडिविजुअल ने. बट ये एक आपको बताने का जरूरी था. इसलिए अभी भी जिन्होंने गलत 1038 का लिया हुआ है और एडिशन कंफर्म हुआ है, माय पर्सनल एडवाइस इज टू गो फॉर विवाद से विश्वास rather than fight it out in tribunal. It's matter of chance, matter of luck, and matter of future attitude of tribunal members. We don't know what is going to happen in tribunal because like faceless assessment, faceless CIT appeal, in this budget they have done faceless tribunal. I have my personal doubts to what extent it can withstand the constitutional challenge of this provision, because tribunal is final fact-finding authority. It's a Supreme Court on finding of fact. And if I am not given an opportunity of being heard, that's the real important thing. मुझे सुनो, मैं ये बताना चाहता हूँ, मैं ये ध्यान में दोना चाहता हूँ, ये आप पढ़िए. वो अगर मुझे मौका नहीं मिलता है, how can on a faceless proceedings in tribunal, by my writing 10 pages or 100 pages, I can make him convinced to read and get convinced. But this is what the state of affairs are. Let us accept and appreciate the situation and go ahead with that. So that's with regard to the text planning through HUF. And I don't know what is the time available to me. 1.5 hours?
1 hour, sir.
1 hour?
Yeah.
Oh, so I have already crossed that limit?
No. We are having this up to
1 hour more or?
Around 45 minutes more, 40 minutes.
Okay, so let me take 30. You
Yes.
want to close by 12:45 or 12:30?
Not the closing time is 1 o'clock, sir.
1 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Having dealt with HUF, now let me go to the second stage. HUF बन गया, family में इनकम आ गई. पर जानते हो ये सब का शेयर होता है ज्यादा पैसा. जितना ज्यादा पैसा उतना ज्यादा लोगों को जलन, ईर्ष्या और झगड़ा. There may be genuine problems in the family. There may be created problems in the family. There may be most of the members very good, but some of the members not good, or all the members are of a fighting nature. In such a situation, how to divide the assets between various family members of a large family, not necessarily one HUF. One HUF, as I told you, yes, you do total partition and things are over. But जहाँ चाचा, भतीजा, अंकल और खास करके आप जो राजस्थान के लोग हैं, मारवाड़ी लोग हैं, इनमें तो ये बहुत होता है कि जब धंधा अच्छा चलता है तो सब साथ में, तेरा क्या मेरा क्या कुछ नहीं होता है. प्राइवेट लिमिटेड बनाई है जिसमें शेयर होता है बड़े भाई का और चला रहा है छोटा भाई. छोटा भाई ने पार्टनरशिप बना दी, उसमें बड़े भाई की वाइफ है और बड़ा भाई चला रहा है. पार्टनरशिप फर्म का शेयर चला जाता है छोटे भाई को, काम करता है बड़ा भाई. किसी ने ये मेरा ये तेरा ऐसा रखा है, ये सब अपना. So when there was a concept of we and not I or me, then the family grew, the business grew, and the properties are being acquired, business are being acquired, movable and immovable assets are being acquired, and all are jointly owned. And now there is a dispute. एक भाई बोलता है नहीं, सब मेहनत मैं करता हूँ और छोटा भाई तो आराम करता है, मुझे उसको भी साथ नहीं रहना है, उसको निकाल देना. छोटा भाई बोलता है कि बड़ा भाई ऐश कर रहा है, बहुत कमा लिया है, सब मुझे मजदूरी करनी पड़ती है, इनकी भाभी ने इतने दागीना ले लिया, मेरी वाइफ के पास कुछ है नहीं, एनी रीजन, एंड दे वांट टू डू नाउ सेपरेशन. अब शेयर है बड़े भाई के नाम पे, देना है छोटे भाई की वाइफ को, छोटे को. सेक्शन 56 जाने के बाद शेयर ट्रांसफर करने में प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, आप गिफ्ट कर दो, नो प्रॉब्लम. बट HUF में ओनरशिप है जो गिफ्ट नहीं कर सकते हैं. दूसरे अंकल है और ऐसे रिलेटिव है जो रिलेटिव की डेफिनेशन में नहीं आते हैं, और वो सब अगर आपको डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना है, then what is a nice option? And that option is of family arrangement. Family arrangement is a document by which you are reorganizing, restructuring the assets and income earned sources by a document signed by all the persons involved to buy a peace and harmony because there is a dispute in the family. So be very clear that family arrangement can be done only and only when there is a larger family. Number one. Number two, there is a dispute. And number three, there is a document which is organizing, arranging the affairs of the family to buy peace and harmony. हमको शांति चाहिए, कोर्ट में जाके झगड़ा नहीं करना है. We don't want to go to civil court. We don't want to go to arbitration and fight it out and demonstrate anything in the society. So हम घर घर में बैठ के हम अरेंज कर देते हैं कि आज से ये प्रॉपर्टी तेरी, आज से ये प्रॉपर्टी मेरी, आज से ये प्रॉपर्टी छोटेगी, आज से ये प्रॉपर्टी मजलेगी और ये बढ़ेगी. So we divide everything jointly. So in Indian scenario, unrelated business are housed in a single vehicle, but are distinctively managed and controlled by different members of the family, with no interference from one another. In order to settle such existing disputes and to avoid potential litigation among the family members, such family arrives at a family arrangement by way of mutually agreed deed of family support in the form of an arbitration award or a court decree. दुनिया को दिखाना है कि घर में डिस्प्यूट है, झगड़ा है, चुपचाप, ज्यादा लोगों को बताना है, न्यूज़पेपर में, टीवी में आ जाए. So what is the purpose of the family arrangement? Ownership of a business is sought to be aligned with the family members who manage and control such respective business. जिसको जो संभाल रहा है उसको दे देना है. Umbilical cord between the shareholding of the passive family members and the family holding vehicle is sought to be broken by way of settlement in cash to family passive members and businesses and active to other active members. So that is what the concept of a family arrangement is. And these are all supported by number of decisions. And let me just deal with you one or two decisions. Arvind Chandulal, Gujarat High Court, again, as I said, Gujarat is Mecca of tax planning, 140 ITR, page 241. There was a written deed of family arrangement under which all the parties to the deed forthwith belonging to them and standing in their names and being anywhere in their possession, and thereafter they were distributed among the members by effecting a family arrangement. Did Gujarat High Court said that it is a family arrangement, there is no transfer, no capital gain, no stamp duty. This is what is most important. The Lordship observed that the character of the property, namely the property of a Hindu family or a joint family, would not change by virtue of being thrown in the family arrangement. ये इंडिविजुअल की है, ये HUF की है, उसका कैरेक्टर वही रहेगा, बट हम उसको बांट के डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर देंगे. Scope of the family arrangement is to be appreciated, that it is very wide. It is always necessary that party to the family arrangement should have some title, some interest in that. Even the party to arrangement had no title, but in arrangement he can create a title and get something. This means that even such relative who are not strictly speaking the members of the HUF can be brought into the family arrangement. जो नहीं है उसको भी कुछ देना चाहते हो तो आप दे सकते हो. That is 28 taxman, page 26, Madras High Court decisions. So conditions क्या है family arrangement की? There must be a dispute in existence at a time or sufficient possibility of dispute. There are all chances कि मैं ये नहीं करूँगा तो ये कोर्ट में चला जाए. That's the requirement number one. Condition two, there may be some claims by members of the family or an outsider which are required to be satisfied according to the wishes of the family, members or outsiders, to maintain the peace and harmony. तो ये चीज अगर आप ध्यान में रखिए, I'm not taking you to various other long decisions, but whether it is a transfer, there are decisions that no, it is not a transfer. SK Sarkar, that is 245 ITR, page 494, where the High Court said that no, this will not amount to transfer. It is the distribution of the joint family within the joint family members. And therefore, there is no transfer, therefore no capital gain. Because there is no transfer, there is no stamp duty. So this is a purely a chartered accountant and solicitor's job, how to document, how to draft, and how to divide the property among the family members. So family arrangement is very important. There's a difference between family settlement and family arrangement. Don't mix up family settlement with arrangement. Arrangement is arranging the affairs by which, as I told you, you are covered by a number of decisions where you are not hit by the definition of capital gain, transfer, and therefore you are in a position to save substantial capital gain tax and substantial stamp duty. This is what I thought I should share with you. And then let me take you the last, another important topic is tax planning through will and creation of the trust. Individual है, करता भी है HUF का, प्रॉपर्टी ज्यादा है, फैमिली मेंबर्स भी ज्यादा है, बेटे की शादी हो गई है, बेटी की शादी हो गई है. I strictly tell everyone, moment you cross the age of 65 or your client crosses the age of 65, you must advise them, and all those who are listening and who are crossed the limit of 65 or about to cross the limit of 65 must draft and execute a will to avoid all future disputes, likely or unlikely, in the family. ये बहुत ही जरूरी है. क्लाइंट को ये समझाना है कि मुझे आपकी 25,000, 50,000 या लाख 2 लाख की फी के लिए मैं नहीं बनाना चाहता हूँ. आपके हयाती के बाद फैमिली में पीस रहे, शांति रहे, झगड़ा नहीं होवे, कोर्ट में नहीं जाए लोग और पैसा बर्बाद नहीं होवे, इसके लिए ये बहुत जरूरी है कि आप बिल बनाएं. नंबर 1. नंबर 2, लिमिटेड इश्यू है, एक ही बेटा है, एक ही बेटी है, जवाई का कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, फिर भी बिल बनाइए ताकि आप टैक्स प्लानिंग कर सकें. नहीं तो सीधा सब एक के बेटे के पास, एक ही बेटी के पास चला जाएगा और हाईएस्ट टैक्स स्लैब में है और 33 के बदले भी वो 42% में चला जाएगा. तो ये बहुत जरूरी है कि आप टैक्स प्लानिंग करें. तो ड्राफ्टिंग ऑफ ए विल इज मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट. फर्स्ट, कन्विंस योर क्लाइंट. एवरेज एज ऑफ इंडियन इज नाउ इंक्रीज फ्रॉम 68. अभी मोस्ट ऑफ द CAs and professionals are even arguing in the High Court and tribunal at the age of 80. But we have to convince them that no, moment you are 65, you are an average Indian age as per statistics of India, you must execute the will. और बना दो। आज बेटे को दिया है, कल लगा बेटे अपने बस में नहीं है, बदल दो बिल। बेटे की और कहीं इच्छा है जाने की, या बेटे का अनफॉर्चुनेट अवसर हो गया, आपने सब कुछ बेटे को दिया था, ठीक है, व्हील बदल दो। व्हील जब भी चाहे बदल सकते, जितनी बार चाहे बदल सकते, जिसको जो देना है दे सकते। These are the 4 important points. 1, safety within the family after your death. 2, tax planning of your entire estate after the death. And 3, yes, keep on changing the will according to the circumstances, situations, requirement, demands, and availability of the funds. This is what is most important. Execution and drafting of a will is a skill. It's not that simple for every single chartered accountant to do that. And you must therefore learn. You must either search through Google or by various books, read what are the important aspects of Hindu law, what is Hindu Succession Act, who can claim, who cannot claim, what care I should take for my unmarried daughters, what care I should take for my married daughters, what care I should take for my grandchildren, or even if you are lucky, the great grandchildren, and in turn work out for the tax planning. If you have unequal distribution between 2 sons, one son is having larger income and larger asset, another is having less, you can work out and plan to equalize almost between the 2 sons, or between 1 son and 1 daughter, whatever you want. So what are the important ingredients of the will? Most important, not necessary to have it on stamp paper. Be very clear. Stamp paper की बिल्कुल जरूरत नहीं है. It can be executed on a plain paper. Signature of the person who is executing the will is a must, and there has to be 2 witnesses. 2 साक्षी होने चाहिए जो कहे कि यस, ये आदमी ने हमारे सामने हस्ताक्षर किए थे और ये विल में उन्होंने साइन किए. And most important thing, please, many people are forgetting, those witnesses should be younger than the person who is executing the will. होता क्या है कि विल मैं बना रहा हूँ, मेरे दोस्त जो मेरी उम्र की है या मेरे से 2-3 साल बड़े हैं, उसको अगर मैं साक्षी बनाता हूँ, जब विल की डिस्प्यूट होती है, चैलेंज होती है, वो दोनों साक्षी मर गए होते हैं, इस दुनिया में नहीं है, और फिर डिस्प्यूट और ज्यादा लंबा होता है. ट्राई टू फाइंड आउट ए विटनेस हु आर मच यंगर टू यू, 10-15 साल आपसे कम उम्र के हैं, और अगर आपकी हयाती में वो विटनेस की डेथ हो जाती है, दोनों की या दो में से एक की भी, तो भी आप फिर से विल बदल दो और फिर से 2 नए विटनेस क्रिएट कर दो. ये बहुत जरूरी है. थर्ड, प्लेन स्टैम्प पेपर पे ही बनना चाहिए, विल बनाने वाले की सिग्नेचर और 2 विटनेस की सिग्नेचर. जरूरी है. यू कैन गेट इट रजिस्टर्ड. देयर आर रिच पीपल हैविंग इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टीज, दे गो फॉर रजिस्ट्रेशन. उसमें और कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, कोई ज्यादा लंबा नहीं है. जहां हम डॉक्यूमेंट रजिस्टर कराते हैं वही रजिस्ट्री में जाके टोकन फी भर के आपका विल रजिस्टर हो जाता है. रजिस्टर्ड विल होने के बाद भी आप दूसरा विल अनरजिस्टर्ड बना सकते हो अगर उसके बाद की डेट है तो. उसमें इनवेरिएबली लिखना जरूरी है देयरफॉर कि मैंने आज तक कोई विल नहीं बनाया और ये मेरा लास्ट विल है. और अगर कोई विल इससे पहली तारीख में मिले तो उसको रद्द बातल गिनिए. आई हैव नॉट एग्जीक्यूटेड विल एनी so far, this is my last will, and if any will is found prior to the date of this date, the same may be treated as cancelled and revoked. That must be mentioned. And then you mention full name and age of that person. Mention all your family members, all the persons of the family members. मेरा ये बेटा है, मेरी बहू है, मेरी ये वाइफ है, मेरा ये डॉटर है, उनकी शादी हुई है इसके साथ, बेटे की शादी उसके साथ, उनके इतने लड़के हैं, बेटी को इतने लड़के, जो भी आपका फैमिली है उसका पूरा डिस्क्रिप्शन लिखिए. उसके बाद आपकी पूरी एसेट्स लिख दीजिए. मेरे पास उतनी इतनी मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी है, इतनी इतनी मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी है, या ज्यादा है तो एज पर एनेक्शर ए मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी इतनी है, एज पर एनेक्शर बी मेरी मूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी इतनी है, एज ऑन टुडे, व्हिच मे बी चेंज फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम. आज हिंदुस्तान लीवर के शेयर है, कल बालकृष्ण के शेयर हो जाएंगे, परसों ओएनजीसी के शेयर हो सकते हैं, जो भी आप लिख दीजिए. So the step 3 is write down what are your various assets, and then first paragraph starts what you want to give to each one of your legal heir. आपकी वाइफ को क्या देना है, आपके बेटे को क्या देना है, बेटी की वाइफ को क्या देना है, बेटी को क्या देना है, दामाद को क्या देना है, उनके बेटे को क्या. That you can mention. You can skip if your son and daughters are well positioned. Don't give anything to them. Give to their children. By the time you die, they may be above age 18, so they will receive in the major. No clubbing of income. If they are nearer to minor but about to reach majority, no problem. Let for 1 or 2 years income be clubbed in the hands of parent, then they will receive individual hands. You can give to their HUF. बेटे का HUF नहीं है, किसी ने बनाया नहीं है, आपका सब इंडिविजुअल था और आपने ऊपर से कुछ दिया नहीं है, साइड से देने वाला कोई नहीं है, विल में से HUF बना दो. मेरे बनने के बाद 5-10 लाख रुपया मेरे बेटे के HUF, जिसमें वो, उसकी वाइफ और उसकी डॉटर या उसका सन ये है, उनको HUF की कैपेसिटी में जाएगा, बेटे को इंडिविजुअल को नहीं मिलेगा. वो आप HUF क्रिएट कर सकते हैं विल के साथ. तो ऑल दिस काइंड ऑफ टैक्स प्लानिंग इज अवेलेबल. एंड लास्ट बट मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, one trust by will, which is of a discretionary nature, can be created. Otherwise, as per section 160 and 164 of the Income Tax Act, if there is a discretionary trust, it will be taxed at a maximum marginal rate, even if there is 1 rupee income. And discretionary trust is what? In a trust, trustee will tell, settlor will tell to the trustees कि हर साल 1 लाख रुपया जो होता है ये मिस्टर ए को मिलना चाहिए, स्पेसिफिक. 2 बेनिफिशियरी है, ए को 50 और बी को 50 स्पेसिफिक मिल गए. 4 लोग हैं, इसको 25, इसको 25, इसको 30, इसको 20, ये शेयर में मिलना चाहिए. These are all specific trust. But where you give discretion to the trustees, and every year out of the income of 1 crore or assets, say 10 lakh is generated, I hereby give complete discretion to the trustees that every year they may give such income as they think fit to such beneficiaries. बेनिफिशियरी मेरा बेटा है, मेरी बेटी है, मेरी बहू है, मेरा दामाद है, उसके ये लड़की है, उसका लड़का है, ग्रैंड सन, ग्रैंड डॉटर, उसके फ्यूचर सन जो अभी नहीं हुए बट बाद में हो जाए, उसका HUF, जो भी आप लिखना चाहो सब बेनिफिशियरी लिख. और ट्रस्टीज हैव फुल डिस्क्रिप्शन, इसमें से किसी एक को दो, किसी 2 को दो, सबको दो, 5 को दो, 3 को मत दो, सबको मत दो, किसी को भी मत दो और एक्यूमुलेट करो. Any kind of discretion. If such discretion is given to trustees by trust created during lifetime, even 1 rupee income will be taxed at maximum rate, 30% लग जाएगा. But if a trust is created through will, discretionary, then it is taxed at normal rate. I would advise कि जो बड़ी income वाले group में है, not necessary millionaire, but reasonably अच्छी income है, उनके बुजुर्ग से ये will में discretionary trust जरूर बनवाइए. बेनिफिशियरीज के सबके नाम लिख दीजिए और वो ट्रस्ट में ट्रस्टीज अपॉइंट कीजिए, एग्जीक्यूटर विल में अपॉइंट कीजिए जो विल को एग्जीक्यूट करेगा, और बेनिफिशियरी को अपॉइंट कीजिए जिसमें वो बेनिफिशियरी अपॉइंट होंगे. सो सच ट्रस्ट विल बी ए सेपरेट टैक्सेबल एंटिटी. एंड एज पर द डिसीजन ऑफ गुजरात हाई कोर्ट इन केस ऑफ दीपक नवदीप ट्रस्ट, ए ट्रस्ट इज एन इंडिविजुअल and therefore it has to be taxed in the capacity of individual. So benefit of section 80L at that time was granted. So 80C benefit, in my view, can also be claimed by the enhance of the trust of 1,50,000. Basic exemption of 2,50,000 can be made available. And trust can become a separate entity. तो घर में एक और income tax entity होगी, एक और file हो गई, and you can have tax planning through that. Generate maximum income, give to various beneficiaries who have less income. You can spend on the marriage of that particular beneficiary on the occasion. Trustees can spend for that. Trustees can spend for the medical treatment. Various discretion can be given. But all that is to be mentioned in the will. Will can be of 2 page, will can be of 200 page. It will depend on the number of the members, assets available, trust created, beneficiaries in the trust created, and discretion given to trust. So don't take it that just like पार्टनरशिप डीडी LLP या डॉग वो कट पेस्ट बना के नाम चेंज करके फट बना देते, ऐसे विल नहीं बनता है. Will is a very precious and important document, because the most important thing, friend, you must remember, document of will is always to be executed and come into play after the death of the person. वो जिसने बनाया था वो तो है ही नहीं दुनिया में, तो अब वो क्या चाहता था उसको ऊपर कुछ तो जा नहीं सकते. तो अब जो लिखा गया है वही पढ़ा जाएगा, और जो पढ़ा जाएगा वही कानून के हिसाब से वाजिब रहेगा. तो लिखने में आर्ट है, लिखने में बहुत ही ध्यान रखना है. Every word, comma, full stop is to be very meticulously drafted, and it has to be executed. As I told you, keep in mind the persons who are witness to the will, persons who are made beneficiaries. There could be separate executors and there could be separate trustees in the discretionary trust. Not necessary that executors can be trustees. It can be, if you want separate, it cannot be, no problem. So far as possible, don't keep executors who are the beneficiaries of the will, either trust or without will. Executors should be, so far as possible, not involved in the distribution of the property after the death. So it is very important. So drafting of the will and creation of the discretionary trust is very, very important. And generation of the income in the hands of minor or beneficial income to the minor is possible. And after the end of that period, the minor, when he will attain the majority, he can receive substantial income, which is accumulated every year in the trust. So minor, moment he reaches 18, can be a straight away millionaire if the person dying is a millionaire, or can be of reasonable wealth and income by which straight away another income tax file is possible, notwithstanding is professional or not, and thus it can be worked out as a next nice tax planning tool. So friend, will is an important document, and now a time has come that dependency on solicitors, dependency on lawyers should be reduced, and we as a chartered accountant should claim that yes, I can draft this, I can execute this, and I can be a party. There is very good fee available for drafting the will. So start convincing your client that time has come, you draft and execute your will. And as and when the time changes, you are in the knowledge of his variations in the income and wealth. You are also well aware with regard to the variation in the family and claimant in the family. Keep on changing the will as and when you feel appropriate, and advise your client accordingly. All these kinds of tax planning, friends, are now the requirement of the day. And that is what I told you. That don't be afraid of change in the scenario. एक चीज अभी ध्यान में रखनी है, हमारा 90% ऑफ द टाइम जाता था ट्रैवलिंग में और जाता था इनकम टैक्स के कॉरिडोर में या जीएसटी के सर्विस टैक्स के कॉरिडोर में. सब ऑनलाइन हो गए. So you don't have to travel, you don't have to sit on the corridor, you don't have to see the face and the shape and size of the office. Everything is online. So substantial time of a chartered accountant is now saved. And that saving in time has to be very judiciously, intelligently used by we all of you. As I mentioned in the beginning, for all chartered accountants in the age of 20 to 40, 40 to 60 and 60 above, in learning technology, in learning day-to-day changes and molding yourself. And yes, this is now the demand of the time. The time has now changed. Clients want your services. Client wants your input. Don't just be a routine tax filer. Don't just be a routine income tax filer. Don't just do the routine internal audit. Signature nahi hai, stamp nahi hai, pass, inward pass gate nahi hai. See how you are able to advise him where he can save. He also should be advised how he can be more computer savvy, techno savvy, and save time and labor. How he can avoid the laborers and other people and use latest technology. How in statutory audit you also help them guiding what should be debited and what should not be debited in the books of account as an expenditure because of hasteless assessment risk. And if you are now caught, what would be the risk? And above all, your risk. When personal expenditure are debited in businesses, when capital expenditure are debited as revenue, and you don't take care in certifying them in 3CD, you are aware now under income tax law, there is a penalty also there. And mind well, if a penalty is levied by income tax authority for misreporting in 3CD, straight away case would be filed in disciplinary committee. It would amount to a gross negligence. And in turn, you will have to face another proceeding before institute also. So be very careful in certifying 3CD. Be extremely careful in filing Form 99C in GST with regard to the input tax credits. We are aware that more than 8 chartered accountants are behind the bar because of this kind of unethical practices in GST. Even if GST audit is taken away, we have to advise client that incorrect input credit on capital asset not available against your normal business should not be claimed, and how you can minimize the liability of the client on GST is the requirement of the day. So friend, be geared up, be prepared, be techno savvy, try to learn latest applications, softwares, use them, use your skill, use your time now available, which was otherwise going in transportation and waiting launch for such creative activities, and see how really we can be a real business advisor, business service provider to our clients and to our potential clients. So with this, friends, I think hardly about 20 minutes are left. I have tried to cover all the areas to the best of my capacity and time available. I can see that there are more than 368 participants and about 69 chats. So Krishna would be in a position to let me know what are the queries.
Yes, sir.
I'll be happy to answer them. And if there are any member who want to live chat or live query also, I'd be glad to answer the same. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Very good presentation. I just recognize the presence of Sri Manish Gadia, our core group member, a regional council member. I request him to say a few words before we start the question answer.
Thank you very much, Krishna ji, for giving me this opportunity. And very well said by Talati sir that we have to look for the newer opportunities. And drafting of will and execution of will, what he rightly said is having a good practice. Now what we are giving is we are giving to the lawyers or solicitors, but we can do that. And we are the best person to do that instead of solicitor or lawyer, because we know our client, family background and everything. So we are the best person for doing this kind of practice. And slowly and gradually what we are seeing that the dependence of compliance as a CA members, we should reduce that and go for this kind of practice, planning, structuring, this kind of practice will give us a good bread and butter. So we should focus on that. So again, I thank Talati sir for accepting our invitation and on a Sunday morning to share his knowledge, vast experience in this area to the members of study circle. So really great, Sunil sir, to hear you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Manish. Aniket is all praise of you. You have been really doing very good work in WIRC. So keep doing it. God bless you and all the best.
Thank you, sir.
Now I request Bhavesh Saji to share his screen and start the question answer.
Yeah, the first question of Nidhi, very interesting questions. Let me tell you one thing very clearly. It is the for particular taxable entity, SSC, in whose hand the benefit of section 54 or 54F is available. So if HUF is the owner of one property and there is a long-term gain, then for benefit of 54, HUF only has to buy the property, individual cannot buy. Yes, if you want to avoid the name of other persons, you can avoid that. But in document, you have to clearly mention that the property is purchased in the capacity of the Karta of the HUF. The second and third name of other co-partners can be avoided, but you can't show it as individual and you can't buy it individual. Otherwise, Sunil Talati sells the property and can Manish Gadia claim the benefit of 54? Answer is no. Same way, here it is not available. So yes, if more than one property, there are tribunal decisions. In one apartment, if there are two joint flats or one on the first floor, another second floor, they are available. But in 2019, we have an amendment that only one house, and that too in India, is possible to be purchased for taking benefit of 54. So you can't do that. And tax planning for bond, yes, 54 EC are still available. So 50 lakh तक का bond purchase कर दो. दूसरे बॉन्ड 54 EC जो प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने 2 साल पहले इश्यू किए थे, अभी तक मार्केट में नहीं आए अनफॉर्चुनेटली. अदरवाइज 1 करोड़ तक के बॉन्ड आप ले सकते थे. But as of now, you can invest up to 50 lakhs and can do the benefit. And HUF dissolved after selling the property, since now all is online. I mean, online has nothing to do with regard to the dissolution and total partition. But let me tell you, I appreciate your question. If the Karta of the HUF does not want to give house to the other members of the family or future claim in the family, let there be a total partition of the HUF. Let the house be given to the Karta in individual capacity and some token amount to other co-partners. The stamp duty be also minimum at that time. So he becomes the owner of that house. Because he has received this and the partition of the HUF, the definition of holding of the period under section 49 will be available to him. So it will remain as a long-term capital gain. And then let him sell in his individual capacity and get the benefit of 54 and give whatever he wants to give to others subsequently by way of gift, or if he does not want to give, don't give at all. The next question is, can CA do the trading of share financial statement through HUF? He is not a karta in that HUF. A chartered accountant has an HUF and he can't be a karta is not possible. Chartered accountant HUF has to be karta if it is his HUF, his wife and his children. But if he's a co-partner, then he is not a karta, so he can't say it is my HUF, so he can't do. Coming to your query about trading in share and financial statements, there is a matter already in the discussion before the Ethical Standard Board. I am a member in that, and there are strong divergent view that whether a chartered accountant should be allowed to do trading in derivatives. Whether it amounts to that, council is considering. As of now, there is a prohibition. So a chartered accountant cannot do derivatives in individual capacity at all. But if he's an HUF and there are funds available, certainly that HUF can do the derivatives either through karta, and if karta is not competent and capable, either through other eldest member. Otherwise, chartered accountant per se cannot do the trading or derivatives in the shares or other commodities as of now. HUF partition discussion on taxability to be done. If there is a total partition or a partial partition, there is no taxability. Partial partition, as I told you, cannot be recognized. So on total partition, whatever different persons receive, they receive on partition, which is not taxed in the hands of them on the receipt. Filing of ITR for HUF and its assessment procedure, just like individual. Whatever you do as individual, you have to पीछे सिर्फ HUF लगाना है, नया पैन नंबर लेना है, नया बैंक अकाउंट खोलना है, नया टैक्स बेनिफिट लेना है. No problem whatsoever. HUF can give any assets to the karta. I already told you, Rajkot bench is against that HUF cannot give to the gift as a karta. But let me tell you, I forgot this point and I must compliment Bharat Agarwal for raising this question. There is a provision in section 10, subsection 2 in the Income Tax Act, that any amount received by a member of the family out of the income of the HUF is exempt. So अगर 2021 मार्च के साल में या 2020 आपका समझ लो 2020 खत्म हो गया है और HUF की इनकम 1 लाख है, उसमें से 90,000 रुपया आप कोई भी एक मेंबर को दे सकते हो कि HUF ने 1 लाख कमाया, उसमें ये 90,000 तू ले जा. कर्ता को भी दे सकते हो, लेडी मेंबर को भी दे सकते हो, मेल मेंबर को भी दे सकते हो. एंड अंडर सेक्शन 10 into bracket 2 इट इज एग्जेम्प्ट. तो ये बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट टैक्स प्लानिंग टूल है जो सेक्शन 10 सबसेक्शन 2 में है. तो ये हिसाब से आप HUF क्या फंड कम कर सकते हो, बट सब्जेक्ट टू नॉट मोर देन द इनकम ऑफ द HUF. HUF के जो फंड आया हुआ है उसमें से आप नहीं ले सकते. So that is very important to be kept in mind. Tax planning through HUF and arrangement and will. I already discussed. I don't know what is the question of Ishan. HUF consisting of husband, wife, and minor son. Can wife act as a karta in normal course? 100% no. So far, husband is there. Husband has to be a karta, not by his wish, not by someone's desire, by virtue of the Hindu code. जब तक बाप है तो बाप ही होता है, बेटा बाप नहीं बन सकता है, माँ बाप नहीं बन सकती. माँ को माँ का रोल ही करना है. She is only a member and she cannot act as a karta. But if husband is incompetent and incapable of karta, stroke आ गया, mind disturb है, incompetent है, and son अगर minor है, till son becomes major, mother can act as a karta for the time being to continue to maintain and preserve the fund of the HUF. That's the decision. Welcome. Can HUF can give gift to its member and member to HUF? Member to HUF, yes. I already told you. HUF to member, no. Let us wait for the High Court decision. My personal view is no. What is the time limit of contribution of funds by karta to HUF when the funds in HUF are invested in stock market and other investment? I mean, there is no question of any time limit. Let HUF get the gift if they are receiving. Let HUF borrow the funds from banks or from private parties, invest in share and earn share from capital gain. Do the buying and selling, do the share trading business, no problem. But not as a chartered accountant. Can HUF give interest-free loan to Karta and members? Yes, certainly. There is one old decision of Shammi Kapoor of Bombay High Court in that case, where they attracted Section 60. But my strong view is that if HUF is having sufficient own fund, it can certainly give interest-free loan to any of the member or co-partner. Can bigger HUF of father coexist with new smaller HUF of his son? 100% yes. As I told you, father, mother, and son is larger HUF, bigger HUF. Son gets married and he has son. So son's HUF comes into existence, son, son's wife, and his son. So suddenly two HUFs can coexist, no issue at all. Can HUF be admitted as a partner through Karta representing HUF? Yes. Recital, partnership deed में clear लिखना है, and HUF can certainly be a partner. Whether share of profit received by HUF is exempt? Yes, 100% exempt in the hands of the HUF partner. Can CA in practice do business in HUF? No, definitely not. Allowed as per code of ethics? No. Only exemption is that if HUF has received something from the father and there is nobody else in the family, he can continue that business to maintain that joint family business, not otherwise. And for that, a special permission of the council is to be required to be obtained, not in normal course at all. Can commission paid to HUF allowed to the client who claims this commission as expenses? HUF and clients are unrelated. Person paying the commission and person receiving commission are two different. Genuine commission दिया है किसी ने भी, प्राइवेट लिमिटेड फर्म ने, प्रोप्राइटर ने, किसी के HUF को नो प्रॉब्लम. वो HUF को प्रूव करना है कि ये कमीशन इनकम उसके HUF की और इंडिविजुअल की नहीं है. कमीशन इनकम में एक ही चीज होती है, आप कमीशन देते हो, अकाउंट पे चेक से दिया, TDS काटा, उसके बैंक अकाउंट में जमा हुआ, वो इनकम टैक्स के रिटर्न में दिखाया, उस पर टैक्स भरा. All that is not sufficient. What are the services rendered by the person receiving commission has to be explained with documentary evidence to the satisfaction of AO. There are numerous decisions of tribunal on this. So simple एक commission की note दे के account पे check दे के commission claim करोगे, और अगर AO को doubt पड़ा कि adjustment है, genuine commission नहीं है, तो problem आ सकती है. But otherwise genuine commission में 100% no problem. When a male gets married, will he continue to be member of his father's HUF? Yes. बेटा जब तक जिएगा बाप के HUF का co-partner रहेगा. बाप का मानता है या नहीं मानता है, फिर भी he will continue to be the co-partner of the HUF. Will cease as a member of HUF when wife with no. Wife आने से बेटे के status को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. Wife will make another HUF of her husband, but son will continue to be the co-partner of the HUF, not member. Member is daughter and wife. Son is always a co-partner. Can a member of HUF transfer his share in HUF to non-members by way of a will? He has a right of undivided right in his HUF, and he can will it to anyone he likes. तो charity भी कर सकता है, किसी और को, अपनी गर्लफ्रेंड को या किसी और को भी दे सकता है, अपने दोस्त को भी दे सकता है. No problem. And members cannot challenge the will away of the undivided share in the HUF. How does it actually operate upon death of such member? If members don't object, it will go to the person to whom he has given by will. If members challenge, the person who is receiving the property by will has to claim before the executor कि उसने मुझे दिया है और मुझे मिलना चाहिए, उसमें कोई problem नहीं है. Can HUF take interest-free loan from its member? Yes, certainly. अगर members के खुद के पैसे हैं, बेटी के, wife के या बेटे के, उससे 100% वो interest free ले सकता है और in turn कहीं interest पे लगा सकता है और HUF में income earn कर सकता है. No problem. It's a good tax planning available. What are the chapter 6A deduction available to HUF? Whatever are available under 6A chapter to individual are available to HUF. I have very clearly mentioned. So no problem. Except PPF, which you can't open. Can a person be karta of his father HUF and also be karta of his own HUF? Yes, certainly. बड़ा बेटा है, फादर की डेथ हो गई, मदर के साथ उसका HUF चालू रहेगा, उसकी सिस्टर और दूसरे भाई अगर है तो, और नहीं है तो जब तक वो जिंदा है, और उसका खुद का HUF उसकी वाइफ और अपने बेटे और बेटों के साथ भी चालू रहेगा. He can certainly be karta of 2 HUF. Can only husband and wife make a HUF if no kids? replied already in the presentation. I have already said yes. By virtue of ऊपर से अगर आता है, he can have it. Side से नहीं ले सकता है. It is now settled that married daughter is entitled to HUF property. Can a married daughter seek her share in such property in case where the karta is disposing of such property and utilizing proceeds for buying another asset in name of other family member? Karta cannot align and transfer the property of HUF only on a particular family member's name. आज कर्ता के पास एक घर फ्लैट अंधेरी में है, वो बेच के वो बलाड़ में दूसरा फ्लैट कोई फैमिली मेंबर के नाम पे नहीं ले सकता है, उसको दूसरा फ्लैट HUF के नाम पे ही लेना चाहिए. If he is alienating his HUF property to an outsider, daughter or son, both can challenge this act because he is not acting in the interest of HUF, and it can certainly be upheld in the favor of the member or co-partner. It is now settled that a married daughter is entitled to the Hogan. Can an HUF dissolve by complete partition and distribute assets to member? Yes, certainly. You have to remember HUF status will come to an end, but respective members will get the shares on the total partition without paying any tax. So there will be no tax implication on the receipt of the assets, either movable or immovable, at the time of total partition. HUF can be partner of the firm. I have said yes. You have to clearly mention in the partnership deed, no problem. Can two brothers form HUF? Certainly no. दो भाई का HUF नहीं बन सकता है. दोनों भाई को मदर या फादर जॉइंट फैमिली का कॉन्सेप्ट होना चाहिए. दो फादर का दो ब्रदर सिर्फ AOP बना सकते हैं, HUF नहीं बना सकते. For female right of co-partner, is it only for daughter born after September 2005 or even earlier? This is a very disputable point. There are views and articles available, but two High Court decisions are already there that once the law is amended, it will partake the nature. So even daughters born before September will get the right to be a co-partner, and therefore this answer is clearly in favor of the girls and married daughters. Even if you are born before September 2005, you will be in a position to have right as a co-partner. Can HUF earning commission income pay salary to the co-partner's son? Number one, as I told you, HUF cannot earn commission unless he is a delegated agent and fund of the HUF are used. If HUF is earning commission by using the fund, the karta can get the salary, which will be taxable in the hands of his individual. HUF will get certainly a deduction if the individual is able to prove कि मैंने मेहनत किया था इसलिए मुझे ये रेम्यूनरेशन चाहिए. को-पार्टनर को सैलरी नहीं मिल सकती है, सैलरी सिर्फ कर्ता को मिल सकती है. As you are discussing daughter's right, co-partner, so in case where there is only one son and two married daughters, are they entitled equally to HUF property? Yes. अभी लड़की और लड़के का डिफरेंस चला गया है. हस्बैंड वाइफ एक सन और दो मैरिड डॉटर्स हैं तो 5 लोग हो गए. Each daughter has one undivided 1/5 share in the HUF property and they have a right to claim the same. Can a widow take gift or share from her father and create HUF with his son and daughter? As I told you, a widow cannot receive anything from ancestral property unless the father has died and given it to the widow and son. In that event, automatically it will be an ancestral property and therefore it will be an HUF property. But if father has died, लुखा फादर है, कुछ है ही नहीं उसके पास, और अब विडो को HUF बनाना है, तो विडो with his son and daughter is an Hindu undivided family. Son is to be a karta and son and daughter two cannot form the HUF of the father because father is not in existence. So there cannot be an HUF of the father. Son can form the HUF only after he gets married and have a daughter and son. So it is not advisable both legally and practically to go for this exercise. Can a female be karta while the husband is alive? Certainly no. That right is just not available. Can only husband and wife can create HUF? No, it cannot create an HUF. By fiction of law, receiving it from the ancestral property, as I mentioned, from first, second, and third stage, only husband and wife can form the HUF. 31, it's not scrolling. आगे नहीं जा रहा है भैया. I'm not able to read above 31.
भावेश जी.
Yeah. और ऊपर ले जाइए. Here is a clarification issued by MC. I don't know what is it. Kindly go to 32.
32. Up.
Can a HUF be partner in LLP or a partnership firm? Certainly, I already answered. HUF can be partner in LLP as well as in normal partnership firm.
Go
No
down,
problem.
sir.
33 के आगे है कुछ?
Go down.
In proprietary, what type of business HUF can do? Whether can do commission business, manpower supply business. Yes, as I told you, commission, deal creator, manpower supply with funds and appropriate staffing, all kind of business can be done. Provided, as I told you, you have to demonstrate allowed to form HUF. Is there state law not permitting such formation? As far as my limited knowledge is concerned, it is only under Dayabaga School of Law that such HUF is not permissible in West Bengal. In Kerala and other parts of the country, I don't think at all there is any prohibition. And as far as I know, I have visited those places and there are HUF being assessed in those states also. A doctor in Jara in his HUF buys a sonography machine and performs procedure. Karta in his individual capacity performs the procedure and is paid professional fees from HUF income. Will this be permissible transaction where HUF will file return showing the business income and Karta shows professional income received from HUF in his personal return? Why not? The service charge of using the machine is by HUF. So that will be a separate bill. If a patient pays that separately, it will be HUF. Professional skill used for sonography by doctor will be his individual capacity. But don't do in this double activity. Let HUF give this machine on rent to the doctor. Let doctor charge 10,000 rupees for sonography, out of which 7,000 is professional fee and 3,000 is for rent. He can do so. That would be a better. Can co-partner give gift to HUF of father? Certainly yes, no problem. Member of the HUF is father's HUF, he is a member. So he can give a gift. Section 56(2), subclause 10. Can investment, banking, corporate finance, advisory like M&A, fundraising be business of HUF? Certainly no. These are all individual skill, individual intelligence. This cannot be performed by HUF. But if there is a partnership firm doing this and HUF is a partner in that, then it's a different issue. A doctor is a karta in HUF. HUF buys a sonography machine. Ye to ho gaya. As per Supreme Court judgment in the Rasikal case, I guess HUF can't be a partner in partnership firm. No, this is not correct. Rasikal, I tried to recollect the citation. That was a different situation where the status of HUF in the partnership was challenged. And therefore, Supreme Court has given that case. Rasikal, I am not able to recollect, but it is not correct. There are hundreds and thousands of HUF who are partners in hundreds and thousands of partnership firms. So friend, I already passed one. I've dealt with 40 questions. I don't know whether there are more. I leave it to Krishna and Bhavesh.
Yeah, there are a few more questions, sir. 5, 6.
Can Karta give gift to member of the HUF with the consent of other members without partition? Karta of HUF cannot give gift. I've already discussed. But Karta can give and distribute the income of the HUF to a member under section 10, subsection 2. And that will be not taxable in the hands of the recipient. This tax planning you must do. And if you file and find that, yes, there is not sufficient income in the hands of the other co-partner. But normally ये होता नहीं है. HUF तभी बनता है जब member individual के पास काफी income होती है और HUF के पास नहीं होती है. But if you have such cases or notwithstanding, you can certainly, HUF can give share from the income, out of the income of the HUF to the member of the under section 10 subsection 2. Can HUF mortgage the inward property for taking loan? Yes, There are banks who are giving that. They are insisting on signature of or co-partners, but it can certainly mortgage, no problem. Can daughter revoke her declaration of giving her right during lifetime of Karta, successor or Karta? Yes, she can always revoke. जमाई बाबू नाराज हो जाए, बोले कि भाई क्यों तूने मुझे पूछे बगैर ये रिवोकेशन दे दिया, तो शी कैन से कि मेरा पहला जो डिक्लेरेशन था वो मेरे बाप ने मेरे को फोर्स करके दिलवाया. I still am a Karta, I'm a co-pastor, and I want to be continue to be co-pastor, and that can certainly be revoked. Can budget amendment CGT on firms have impact on family arrangement? CGT has nothing to do with family arrangement. Stamp duty, as I told you, depends on state to state. In Gujarat, there are decisions, so I don't find any difficulty on stamp duty in state of Gujarat. Maharashtra, you'll have to find out with your respective lawyers who deal with the stamp duty. Any format for the will? Format for the will is, as I told you, you can find out in Google. Standard draft मिल जाएगा, but कभी भी फॉर्मेट पे बच जाइए. किसी भी लॉयर के साथ सोल्यूटर के साथ एक दफे बैठ के समझ लीजिए. मैं जब सीए प्रैक्टिस चालू की तो मैं बंबई 2 दिन मनीला लंबालाल खैर फर्म की सॉलिसिटर में 2 दिन रुक के मैंने क्लाइंट का विल बनाया, जो आज भी मुझे काम में आता है. तो ये सीखना बहुत जरूरी है. कट पेस्ट फॉर्मेट पे कभी मत जाइए, उसमें क्लाइंट का कट पेस्ट हो जाएगा. What happens if one is a nominee? What happens if one is a nominee and assets come to him of which he is not aware? How do such assets get covered in a will? Can witness be the family members? Witness can be a family members, no problem, but not advisable, because it is always challengeable, because you are an interested party. Coming to the earlier aspect, if nominee is receiving and in will it is not mentioned, and then it's a litigation point. But nomination is done during lifetime, and that nomination can be changed anytime. तो फादर ने नॉमिनेशन बेटे को बनाया है और विल में कुछ नहीं लिखते हैं तो नॉमिनी को मिल जाएगा. बट विल में अगर लिख दिया कि मैंने नॉमिनेट बेटे को किया था, बट ये प्रॉपर्टी मेरी बेटी को चाहिए, then nomination has no value, will would prevail. So it's very important to see all nominations, be in LIC, be it in cooperative society, or be it in shares and securities. ये बहुत जरूरी है, देख लेना विल बनाने के टाइम पे. या तो विल में लिखना देना कि notwithstanding the nomination, notwithstanding the joint name on which I have purchased so and so property, I want to give this property to my so and so legal heir. ये स्पेसिफाई करना बहुत जरूरी है, और इसलिए मैंने बोला कि will is a very important document. You have to take care of that. Can son, daughter, siblings be a witness? I have already replied. Legally, yes. Practically, not advisable. Practically, दूसरे लोग तो ऑलवेज एक डॉक्टर या एक लॉयर या एक सीए को ही पसंद करते हैं, और मेरा ये मानना है कि जब तक हो सके अपने को विटनेस नहीं बनना चाहिए. वी शुड बी ए ड्राफ्टमैन टू द विल, बट नेवर ए विटनेस टू द विल. कल उठ के वो फैमिली में झगड़ा हो गया तो आपको कोर्ट में बुलाएंगे विटनेस के लिए. तो आई इन माई लाइफ टाइम हैव नेवर बी ए विटनेस टू एनी डॉक्यूमेंट लिस्ट द विल. विल में भी कभी मैं साइन नहीं करता हूँ, और मैं स्ट्रॉन्ग एडवाइस दूंगा दूसरे सीए को भी, कभी आप विटनेस मत बनिए. या आप एग्जीक्यूटर बन सकते हैं और उसकी फी भी आप ले सकते हैं, बट विटनेस मत बनिए. Can HUF contribute to the major minor members or co-pastors PPF? As I told you, HUF can definitely give various kind of expenditure. Deduction HUF को नहीं मिलेगा, इसलिए PPF में वो भरेंगे तो बात मिलना नहीं है. और टैक्स प्लानिंग के लिए PPF में आप भरना चाहते हो तो भर सकेंगे. Mediclaim certainly HUF can claim deduction on any member of the HUFs. Executors, I feel, should be a family member and also could be a beneficiary. Yes, no problem. An executor can be a beneficiary. Distribution remain in the knowledge of the family member. सही बात है, पर मैंने बताया एक्जीक्यूटर जहां तक हो सकता है घर के लोग ही रहते हैं, क्या कि घर की बात घर में रहे, और जब लिटिगेशन होता है तभी ये प्रॉब्लम आता है. नहीं तो लीगली देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम, एंड प्रैक्टिकली आई वुड एग्री, यस, इट इज मोर एडवाइजेबल दैट इफ beneficiaries are one of the executors. Whether an individual in his will can give property in his individual name to his son HUF, yes, certainly he can give to his son's HUF. दूसरे के HUF को भी दे सकता है, अपने बेटे के HUF को छोड़ के, तो no problem. Can whole properties immovable or movable can be donated to a trust by will? Certainly yes, no problem. अपने बेटे अगर अपने बेटे नहीं रहे, बेटी अपने बस में नहीं रही, दामाद अपने बस में नहीं है, तो फादर अपनी इंडिविजुअल प्रॉपर्टी किसी को भी दे सकते हैं, सबकी सब चैरिटी में भी दे सकते हैं. एंड देयर आर मेनी सच केसेस, नॉट इन इंडिया but in foreign countries, that father doesn't give to his children and give it to charity. So no problem, legally 100% it can be done. What precaution to be taken? No precaution, proper will to be made. और जो चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट को देना चाहते हैं उनको भी लिख के दे दे कि मैंने मेरे विल में ये बना के आपको दी है, तो मेरे मरने के बाद, मेरी मृत्यु के बाद ये पूरी प्रॉपर्टी मूवेबल ये आपके चैरिटेबल ट्रस्ट को मिलने वाली है. सो दैट विल बी ए सफिशिएंट प्रिकॉशन, नो प्रॉब्लम. विटनेस दो प्रॉपर होने चाहिए जैसे मैंने बताया था, और एग्जीक्यूटर तगड़ा होना चाहिए कि वो बोलेगा कि हाँ बेटा बेटी को कुछ नहीं देना है और सब चैरिटी में देना है. Is it necessary that only property or fund in the name of partners will be considered in the family arrangement, or other members of the family also considered while preparing family arrangement? No, there is no necessity that only property or fund in the name of parents only will be used. जिसके नाम पे कुछ भी नहीं थे उसको भी दे सकते हो, जिसके नाम पे सब कुछ है उसको कुछ भी नहीं दे सकते हो. दोनों को इक्वल अनइक्वल, कम ज्यादा जो भी चाहते हो वो हिसाब से दे सकते हो. Only thing, they should all be parties to that deed. They should all sign it willingly, and it should be binding to them and the legal heirs. Can a member of HUF will his share in his HUF? Yes, it is advisable to do that. Others, it will devolve in the rest of the members if he does not mention in the will. So he can mention that my undivided share will go and continue to be the corpus of the HUF. Or he can say, my undivided 1/4 share, I want to give it to my son or to my daughter or to my wife, to whatever way he wants to do that. Whether after death or of father, fund will go to the HUF of son if he has any documents required. As I told you, after death, it will devolve according to Hindu Succession Act, section 15 and 16. Table A and table B, वो हिसाब से जाएगा. Father and father estate will always partake the character of HUF in the hands of the son. Can a female member receive her share in her father's HUF, transferred to her husband HUF? Female member receiving her share in her father's HUF. फादर के डेथ के बाद फैमिली का पार्टीशन होता है, तब बेटी को जो मिलता है वो उसका स्त्रीधन हो गया. एज ए को पर्सन उसको जो भी मिलता है, एक दफे वो स्त्रीधन हो गया, शी इज ए मेंबर ऑफ हर हस्बैंड HUF. तो बीइंग ए मेंबर ऑफ हर हस्बैंड HUF, शी कैन गिव बीइंग ए मेंबर ऑफ HUF टू हर हस्बैंड HUF. और सेक्शन 56(2) के हिसाब से वो गिफ्ट टैक्स में भी नहीं आएगा, सेक्शन 56 में नहीं लगेगा. So no problem. So I've almost dealt with all 59-60 questions. I'm really happy that there was so much awareness by the members and interest. And I'm sure you will keep generating such interest and use this tax planning tool of HUF and will and discretionary trust to the advantage of your clients and to your advantage as professional. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for such a wonderful session. Now I wanted to propose a formal vote of thanks to you, sir. Today's well-known personality, Sri Sunil Talati ji, our past president, has very well covered today's topic, tax planning of HUF and family arrangement and will. Sir, with your vast and immense knowledge and experience, our members will definitely be benefited and adopt today's topic also in their professional practice. On behalf of JB Nagar CP Study Circle, I propose a hearty vote of thanks for sparing your valuable time on this Sunday morning and enhancing the knowledge of our members, and also clarifying their queries, more than 59 queries. I thank you for such a wonderful session, sir. Thank you.